All right, it says I'm live. Let me check the altruism. Do you need to go sit in the corner, man? Because I've asked you to chill already. Yeah, what's up, Joe Average? J3, what's up? Dave Towel, what's up? Lightsabers out. Tampa Supreme, what's going on? Buddy Young, what's going on? YT. What do you guys come in fighting for, man? Y'all just got here. Let's see what else we got. Joe Average. What else we got? Anthony, Big Brother in Life. C. Smith, the ruler. Well, black women and men have a strange relationship. Always have. Steve, what's going on? Jackson J, what's going on? Kyron, what's going on? Drew, what's up? AL, what's going on? Tobias, Jack. I've never even heard of Judy King, K. King. Never even heard of her. What does she write? What does she write about? Gerard, what's going on? Vernon, what's up? Will, what's going on? Hey, the final watcher, what's up? The wall of yeah, the wall of indifference, man. That's what I call it. So Obadiah, what's going on? Yasuki, what's going on? Never heard of her. Never heard of it. Is it worth reading? Truth be told, diesel chicken wings, you ain't shit. James S, what's happening? AO Boogie, what's going on? Sean, what's happening? It's time to get back to a little reading. Or at least books on tape. Uh is it worth reading? Because yeah, it's if it continues down the path that we're on, yes, on its final leg, we will become people of color. Well, they're all of them actually point to Derrick Bell because Derrick Bell, was born in 1930. He worked on all the civil rights legislation, from the ground up because he was born during that. Actually was an adult during that time, during the 50s and 60s. Actually a lawyer during that time, so he has a unique perspective. Okay. I don't even know what a theory is. Egyptian. I know about Egyptian death rights, but in certain circumstances, depend on what era it actually is. I should have a book club. That's funny. Black in Effect, what's up? Yep, that's where things are going. You heard? You heard? What's up, Gold Professor? Well, I've been waiting on a Ripple for a while, man. But the banks are behind Ripple, so that's the difference. The Western banks are behind Ripple, and the Chinese banks just. I knew that Bitcoin was going to take a dive when the Chinese digital yuan actually came aboard. That's like them to kick the miners out because they didn't want a competing digital currency against the national digital currency. Okay, man. She got to be worth my time, man, because I got tons of books. She got to be worth my time to actually read because I got a stack, and I'm already behind. So anything else that has to be worth my time. Like I just finished Derrick Bell's Faces at the Bottom of the Well, so I could actually understand him better. What's up, Captain Marvel? Yeah, well, that's what you say. Why is she worth my time? What's your thesis? In fact, just wait, and I'll drop the link, and you can tell me why she's worth my time because I haven't even. Well, let's go ahead and look her up. She on Amazon? She's on Amazon because depending if she's a Hotep feminist, man, then I'm not that fond of it. You write Age of Diesel book. Well, you say that, but the thing is that she might not be worth my time. Okay, what's her name again? Let me go ahead and put her in. What's her name again? Nobody's ready to see chaos. What's going on, Juice? Judy is she black? ISIS thesis. Okay, what is it about? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, let me go ahead and share the screen while I'm looking at it so I don't bore people. Okay. Transformation one to evolve one needs scientific knowledge describing the process and knowledge systematic by the power elite. Surprising Egyptian deities mirror the activities of our microbial ancestors. Yeah, supporting the ISIS theories, ancient Egyptian text, art, architecture, dual lens of contemporary science. International Congress for Young Egyptologists in Lisbon, Portugal, has written 12 peer-reviewed articles published in. Okay. How long is this book? Because 2004, all the because I was deeply in the field, and her name never come up if she's written that far back. The former English instructor rooted in theories of. Okay. Okay. Okay, I might give her a shot. How long is the book? 400 pages. Okay. Eh, I don't know how much more she can actually go through. Yeah. Well, I'll see if I'll see if I can put it in a rotation, man. It's a 400-page book. Yes. Okay. Okay. I just finished a 400-page, almost 500-page book, uh, 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 about black revolts from 1770s, from 1619 to 1776. I just finished. I'm working on. I just finished Derrick Bell's book, which is like 300-page book. Faces at the Bottom of a Well. I'm working on a book called the Iron Kingdom, which is like a 600-page book. So um, the thing is, for me to squeeze the book in, I got about four more in front of me. So the thing is that it's really got to be worth my time. Like really, it's got to be like groundbreaking for it to be worth my time. So, I mean, I read, but the thing is, nobody can read everything. I've listened to some Bobby Hemmett, and he mixes in some things. Yeah, some things I agree with Bobby Hemmett, some things I don't. So sometimes Bobby Hemmett kind of goes off the rails a little bit. Hey, Dr. T, what's going on? But anyway, people think that you just drop like a 400-page book on you. You're just supposed to just jump on it because you're just sitting around waiting to read. Yeah, if I'll see if I can work it in because um, I'm actually scanning books that I need to catch up on. So, and that's not including the papers and articles and all the other crap that I got to catch up on. So, it doesn't seem like I read, but I do read a lot. But like I said, if back in 2000, from 2004 to really from 2003 to like 2014, I was really steeped in it, and I didn't hear a name come up. And normally, I would hear, if it's a really important book that has something to do with Egypt, I would hear a name come up. So I didn't. So it's not like it's a brand new book. Can I briefly go over how to control one's anima? Okay. Normally, somebody's anima, you're talking about for a male or for a female, okay? Because there's a difference. So if you talk about a male, if you're talking about a male controlling one's anima, um, so what are you talking about? So if you talk about is it a male or female? Male. Okay. The biggest thing about a man's anima for most men, I would say like 90% of men, they have an underdeveloped anima. Okay. Um, because the anima is more like a little girl instead of the woman that it should be because you never took time to train her. And so the first thing you have to do is number one, mature that anima. So you have to do shit that's creative. So if you write, if you draw, if you sing, if you're in music or anything that's creative, sculpt, whatever it is, something that's creative, that starts to mature your anima because your anima is in control of your inspiration or your creative side. Okay. Um, the second thing, if you want to mature your anima, is probably going to have to be around more females non-sexually. That would help you more mature women. Okay. And the third thing is that if you want to mature your animal, now you got to talk to you. You have number one, you have to talk back and forth to your animal. That little voice that you hear that keeps you out of trouble, that's your animal. But the thing is, you got to learn how to talk to her and learn how to listen. Okay, once you once you emerge her, mature her, and you learn how to listen and to talk to her, then you can give her missions. Okay, because your anima is connected to the non-seen world. In other words, 90% of what you are of your unconscious your brain is unconscious. So 90% of the world is unseen, and that's the realm of your animal. The thing is your conscious mind actually controls it. So you have to give your animal a mission. So you have her go out and find things for you or seek things for you. And then the second, okay, a big thing is that if you're not sure, is your animal mostly speaks to you more clearly when you're asleep and through your dreams. So the thing is that give yourself a mission, take note of your dreams, and when you get up in the morning, write them down. If you keep a dream journal for, like I say, 30 days to 60 days, okay, that'll get you more in touch with your anima, because that's how she speaks to you 90% of the time is through your dreams. Okay. Your anima, that's how she speaks to you. But the thing is, the other things that has to be feeling. She's in charge of your feelings and your sensations, because that's the unseen world. That's your moon. So you have to, but the thing is, she doesn't have direction. Your conscious mind gives her direction, because that's what she's looking for. So you have to give her direction and give her a mission. Don't just let her run willy-nilly. Give her something to do. All women need something to do. Tyler Durden is a male. Okay. Okay. My anima is not a male. Your animus is a male, which could be Tyler Durden, but that's not mine. It could. But the thing is, reading is normally masculine, and reading is normally masculine. So reading, but it's logical. So you have to do something that's non-logical, like music, or something creative, like drawing, music, or something like that, that will get you in touch with your anima. William Walker, what's up? No, I haven't. I haven't really named my anima. Well, yeah. Well, it depends. Sometimes I call her my bottom bitch. Depends. What do I think about meditation? Yeah, you should find a form of meditation that rocks with you, because that'll help you find your center point, which is your merging between your anima and your animus. That brings them together. Are there animal archetypes there? Yeah, they sure are. The warrior. In fact, we went through them quite a bit. It just depends. You're the warrior, the mother. I think there's the what do you call it? The treasure trove. The woman that does it gets into business. And I figure there's another one that Rom came up with. There's a bunch of them. Thomas Anderson, okay. Yeah, you have a warrior queen. Yeah, it depends. Depends on what you need. There are different archetypes for your anima, but your anima is going to depend on your personality, because your anima is you. If they can afford him, the thing is, can they afford him? How do you offer your way through child support? You get a better job and get a good lawyer. But don't start no bullshit, Smirgle. There's no trolling, all right? Because I will bounce you. This is not this is not Edward's channel, so don't ask no dumbass questions. Because you're not married. I asked you, did you have any kids? Were you married, or stepdad? You said no. So stop asking dumbass questions. Have a kid first. Nope. I've never considered trying to make a curriculum or a book of the month, because Negroes don't normally read. Yeah, Seated Hawk, Treasure Chest, Elegant Rose. Yeah, those are the ones. Rom actually came up with those. The Elegant Rose is more feminine. So the real feminine one, the classy feminist one, is the Elegant Rose. Treasure Chest is the mother that actually takes care of your bills. The Seated Hawk is the boss, and the Moon, which is the big mother, that's the one that mothers you. Standard. Uh, I did make a curriculum. How so, sir? I've shared. The thing is, when I do a book list, it has to be, since there's so many books, you have to give me a sphere of concern or a sphere of interest, and I can give you a book list. I can't just give you a book list because they'd be all over the place. No, in other words, you don't have to wait till that happens. The biggest way to alpha way through a child support court is not have the kid in the first goddamn place, right? That's the biggest problem. Don't go to court in the first place. My channel is the curriculum. Well, they need something more formal, and I'm scattered, Doc. See, I'm not organized like you. You got a question via cash. Why don't you just put your question up? You don't, you know. Why don't you just put your question up? Since it's ask me anything, so um, it doesn't have to be through Cash App. Just put your question up if you got one. Final watcher. Oh, Trump going against the generals. Trump was actually Trump actually didn't go against the generals because most of the generals are actually on his staff. Trump had like 3 or 4 former generals on his staff because they're the one put him in power. They had to keep an eye on his ass. Trump never went against the generals because they're the one to put him in power. Stephen, appreciate you. Aquateki, as always, appreciate you. Final watcher, I think I answered your question. I've never watched it. You talking about sanity? Is that the right? I don't even know the person. Sanity's conscious community platform. I don't think that's spelled right. I used to rock a gray fro. I'm 62. I should rock a gray fro. So when it's out, when it's grown out, guess what the color the fro is, bro? AMC stock. Okay, it's a squeeze. The thing is, if you can get it, if you can get it at the right price, you get it. But you gotta be careful how you get in, because there is a short squeeze on AMC stock, and they're gonna have to settle out. So it could blow to the moon, or it could go sideways, could go down. So if you get in, be careful where you get in. I haven't looked at it lately. Signetter, okay. I've never watched Signetter, so I wouldn't. I mean, I've been around people like Signetter for 35 years. Signetter to me is nothing special. They did. Oh, it wasn't California. I heard the LA County did. I don't know about California. They were planning on it, doing it. GameStop. Now, GameStop is interesting. Well, the GameStop GME is what we were talking about. Yeah, I'm supposed to be finishing a book, the Octanes. How long living outside of man separates from the black community? Okay. If you not if you go depends on where you go. Depends on where you go. If you're on the continent, it's not going to separate you for very long because there's black folks there. Yeah, it's blown up. Yeah, they will. And then that Lynn class was a class. Another. Well, it's not. She needs to. Well, she needs to be more grounded in her field. Yeah, it always is. Yeah, because we help you understand the kid. Because it helped me. Helps me with my grandson because you understand the nature of the child. No, actually, when it was getting before it got blew up, it was It was Judge Zilla that came in and told us that was about a month and a half ago before the run up. If you're going to have a trading platform, it's got to be comfortable for you. I can't tell you which trading platform to use, which one ever works for you, Webull or Robinhood or whatever, whichever other ones. You got to see what the fees are, and what the churn is, how they fill your order, that kind of stuff. If it's all good, then it's fine. What's a good summer reading list for my 13-year-old son? That is a good question. I would say I would start with The Alchemist. I would start with the autobiography of Malcolm X. I might start even with the science fiction book called Dune. Something that's interesting to him, that's a little bit more esoteric. Kareem Austin, appreciate you. Dark Creed, appreciate you. So I would start with any kid. I would start with The Alchemist, and then I would start with science fiction, something like Dune. Dune is more accessible to kids, even though it's a little bit esoteric. As far as a 13-year-old, it's a damn good question. It depends on how mature your 13-year-old is. But yeah, that's where I would start. That's the first two books I would start with as a 13-year-old. I also with the Four Agreements. That's pretty accessible to a 13-year-old. I will start with those three. Yeah, I know. I got to finish the book. Your animus is inside you. So, Black woman's animus. What her animus is supposed to submit to her. Okay, her animus is inside of her. If she gets a hold of her animus, if she develops her animus, then uh, her submitting to you will actually follow, because she'll be more logical, more conscious, more more astute, more mature, and then she will naturally follow you, because if you're on the right path. Most women do not have an out of control animus. I haven't even looked at the Shiba Inu coin. The little altcoins, if they're too small, I don't even look at them. What do you suggest 40 plus Black men do for happiness? Andy, appreciate you. Vernon King, appreciate you. If you're 40 plus, when I was 40 plus, basically, number one, embrace who you are. Okay, at 40, embrace whoever you, accept who you really are. Do more creative work. Read more. I would say if you're 40 plus, I would say go overseas at least once. Go overseas at least once, and get away, get out of your comfort zone if you're 40 plus. Because if you do that, everything else will be easy. If you get a hold of yourself, I would say read if you're dealing with women, read The Alchemy of Love and Lust and The Multi-Orgasmic Male. If you're 40 plus, it's going to be up and down. Because a lot of people, it was question, should have bought it at what, 15, 16. I've read a little bit of Manly P. Hall, but basically once you get into esoteric methodology, then it's basically all kind of repeats itself. Go back to Memphite theology, from where it's all sprung for. If you understand that, everything else will make sense. The best book I would say read would be the Evolution and Origin and Evolution of Religions by Albert Churchward, because it goes through all the symbols and the pre-symbols, so you get an idea where all this stuff comes from. And then once you get an idea where all this stuff comes from, then all the other stuff will make sense. Because it doesn't make sense because you don't know where the symbols came from. But if you know where the symbols came from for their origin, and the original purpose, everything else makes sense. Normally I read about, okay, on a normal year I read about 10, okay, about 10 books a year normally. But lately I've been trying to play catch up. So this year I'm working on, so far the first half of this year, I think I'm working on like maybe 15, 16. So it'll be about 30 this year. Do I still trade? Nope, I do not still trade. AMA to a million? Nope, it's not gonna happen. And AMC to 1,000, you'd be lucky. Now Dune is actually very light because I read Dune when I was what? First read Dune when I was 17, 16. Dune is actually made for youth. The original Dune is. He kind of weaves it in. Relating to a really smart non-binary kid. Is a non-binary kid male or female? Well, I would say get the kid out of that feminist institution. That's what I say. If you can, a kid is a kid. The thing is, if the kid is born a male, then you have to treat him like a male because the biology is going to take front and center. Because it always takes, because they didn't want to admit it in the first place. France admitted to it now because France is in an inferior position, and Rwanda told them to go kiss their ass before the Mayflower. If we're going to read that, you can read uh, they uh, they came before Columbus, which is probably a better book. Gums, germs, and steel. For a 13-year-old, I don't know. Depends on your 13-year-old. If you got a mature 13-year-old, that's different. But I would say start with something that's light. That will give them a more sense of philosophy. Bro, man, appreciate you. BGS tax. I heard that. Yeah, I would say the four agreements is a very good place to start, and it's simplified, and it's not too heavy. Because I gave that to my daughter when she was a teenager, and she got it. In fact, she embraced it. Sh Okay, not for a 13-year-old. You start with the Alchemist by Coelho. In fact, as an adult, my spiritual teacher gave it to me. You're locked in during dinner. Okay. Christopher Clipper, what's up? PK Angel, where we at? We're at 30 minutes. Yeah, we got that one already. If they want to ask you about what they should give them, Stewart, they can go ahead. Okay, they're asking me. Black label, black wealth. Yeah, yeah, well, not for a 13-year-old though. So what else we got? You guys are all right. You got the multi-orgasmic male. Yeah, that's an old book. Actually, very good. I've seen medical doctors actually talk about the multi-orgasmic male and seed retention and all that kind of stuff. He actually does a pretty good job of going through it. If you have a more mature 13-year-old that's going to deal with girls, that book, multi-orgasmic male, and the alchemy of love and lust. Yeah, Dune is very accessible for a 13-year-old. It's actually it's more like an adventure book because Muad'Dib is actually a is actually a teenager, so it's way more accessible because he's a boy. No, I wouldn't. Nowadays, I wouldn't be. I'd be surprised how many kids can get off the couch. Behold, the Pale Horse is relevant, but it's very heavy. I hope so. But they got injuries. It's kind of hard to tell. A non-binary child is a child that doesn't commit to being male or female. That's a non-binary child, which is means that uh, depending on how old the child is, if the child is like under is like pre pre what's it? I can't even get the word out. But if it's under like 12 years old, then there's something wrong how you raise that kid. Okay, then there's something to do with the parents and the teachers, because you got a non-binary child that hasn't even pre. I know how to say it, but the thing is that I'm having 62. I'm having problems actually saying certain words I don't say all the time. I read them fine, just can't say them. But yeah, if that's the case, then you're gonna have a confused child. That's a whole different story. I would say that child probably needs to shrink to sort that out, because you talk about sexual identity at before puberty. That's a tough one, because they haven't developed either side. You got to divide. You have to develop your biological side, which is your male side first, or female side first, because that's the body that you're in. You can't get past that. Yeah, they're teaching gender. Yeah, which I don't agree with. Man, they're on some other kind of agenda. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the way they're pushing it. The thing is why they're pushing. I do believe that with the artificial womb, they're trying to push this non-gender uh, fluidity. It's because they're trying to push an agenda. They're trying to push a colorblind agenda. They're trying to get people to mix. They want people of color, so they're trying to reframe uh, 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 history, Black history in the United States. I believe they're trying to reframe it. Yeah, prepubescent. I don't, when you don't use words a lot, and you got so many words in your head, you forget how to pronounce them. But CRT, I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around it, because I know what it is. I know what the talking points is. I think I know what Derrick Bell meant by critical race theory. If Because critical race theory, if you think about it, if you read the new Jim Crow, that's critical race theory. The color of law, critical race theory. The color of money, critical race theory. Right? Um, because it has to deal with the with the policy structure that keeps Black people behind. The chick that just wrote the book about how how the tax laws actually keep Black people behind. She just wrote a book like that. That's critical race theory. It's a more critical race theory has more to do with the legal side than it does with the social side. Yeah, well, I can hear it in my head, but it coming out of my mouth is a different story. Spirit of justice, and I'm not going to sit here trying to practice it. Okay. It will type his name in the chat, see if he wants to come up. And, the doc is busy. Heavy is the head that Heavy is the head that wears the PhD crown. Yeah, it's fine if you're in college. The thing is, if you're prepubescent, then that's different because you really haven't solidified an identity either way. And I don't get the non-binary shit anyhow. Okay, I think I saw this joke on Facebook. Somebody says there's 33 genders. Okay. and and then this little the cat meme says, no, there's two genders and 31 forms of gay. And I fell out my chair because that's essentially what it is. If he feels like coming up, he's welcome to come up. I'm going to drop the link in a little bit anyway. It's this that old nurture over nature that you can actually train people to come to actually overcome their natural instincts, which is not true. Which is why you have a lot of transgenders. The transgender suicide is like 50%. Half your transgenders commit suicide. I had to say his name 3 times. That y'all ain't shit. Well, the thing is that when you start messing with gender and stuff like that, you start screwing with the people's basic nature. And so gender fluidity and non-binary and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty high. And I just gave a round figure, about 50%, because there's a lot of transgenders that I've heard of that I will associate it with committed suicide. Male, female, and disabled. No such thing. Get one or the other. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You start messing because all these systems are tied together. Okay, your brain is not just your brain. Your brain is tied into a system, and you start messing with who your identity is. It will actually start messing with your basic personality. And if yeah, I just hope that they don't screw these kids up too badly. Yeah, sex is they use gender instead of sex because there's only two sexes. Okay, they can't get past that. The gender is a construct. That's like when they can play with it. We keep adding genders, this, that, or non-binary, attaching, all that kind of stuff. Basically, that's social programming. Has nothing to do who you basically are, or what hardware you were given. Yeah, yeah. They're pushing that for a reason. They're pushing that reason, but they're doing it through the female. They couldn't do it through the male. Men wouldn't go for this shit. That's how come they have to do it through the female. Only the women could actually bring this in. I don't know if the doc is listening. You know, he's not sitting next to me. Okay, so I don't know. I don't feel anything. It has to run its course. Yeah. Well, the thing you got to take them out of the system. The thing is, this white people actually fighting for their systems. They did that in Rome. They did it in Rome. They made eunuchs for pleasure. They took 10-year-old boys and made them eunuchs and sold them off as wives to rich people. And I got to find that. I got to go back and find that passage. I think there's lots of ways to make money, and I think black people should investigate every avenue that they can: cybersecurity, programming, even plumbing, and whatever. Okay, they need to whatever way they can actually do to actually be functional. Weaker vessel. They're I don't even say what weaker or whatever. They're complementary. I don't even understand what transports is. If you want to play sports, they're man. I think a lot of guys transports because they can't compete as men. I never seen a top flight athlete that was a man uh, go to trans. And if you're going to be trans, why do you want to compete as an athlete? If you want to compete, compete against the best. Yeah, they're on this. They're on that program. There's an agenda that they're after, and this has been going on well before Biden. This stuff started with the Bush years. This stuff started way back. The thing is why. The thing is we haven't figured out why. Yeah, they were because they were shipping them to a different society. Well, I don't think they can. If you once you're trans, you start taking those hormones, it'd be kind of hard for you to compete. I think they don't. I think since it's the artificial womb, it doesn't matter where you put your penis. Oh, there's Dr. Johnson. Okay, there he is. All right, somebody said his name 3 times. They want you to come up and give your thoughts on critical race theory. Well, the thing is, it will one thing it will give women a chance to do is compete against men that's sanctioned. Okay, they always say they're as good as a man, but the thing is that when the transgenders are in their arena and beating the crap out of them, all of a sudden they want to cry foul. That's why I say women are full of shit. But women don't know. Women actually don't know what they really want. Go, professor, appreciate you. So there's the link, Dr. Johnson, if you want to come up and give your thoughts on critical race theory. And since the link's already there, after Dr. Johnson um, gives his theory, that'll bring everybody else up. Joanna Mans Duncan in the WNBA. There he is. There's the doc in the WNBA.
Thing. I think I had you open on 2 lines. What's up? What's going on, man?
What's going on, Dr. Truth? They want you to because I always ask you, man, I'm still confused, even though you say I'm not, about
You are
critical race theory.
Especially after what you did to that grad student. You ain't confused.
So because you said you actually met Derrick Bell.
Yeah, man. I was an associate dean at the Claremont colleges.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, I was a grad student at the Claremont Graduate University and associate dean at the 7 schools, and he came up there to speak. And you talking about, a real brother, straight up, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I asked him, what should I do to prepare for my career? He was like, look, he looked me dead in the eye. He was like, what you need to do is develop a fuck it fund.
He was right though.
And I was like, well, can you define that for a brother? Because I wasn't prepared. I mean, if you know who Derrick Bell is, this is the first black person who was a tenured professor at the Harvard School of Law.
Mm.
So he would write fiction, which would throw you, if you read, some of his work, or if you ever watch, remember that series they had on HBO, Cosmic Slop?
Common slop. Yeah. In fact, that's why I saw. That's where one of the stories about the black folks being put on a ship. Yeah.
Right, the
Yeah.
space,
Being traded for a spaceship. Yeah.
yeah, space
Space
trade.
trade.
That
Yeah.
was that was his, and I showed that in my class. So you're talking about a very diverse and brilliant cat who used a lot of different means to communicate ideas. But as a law professor, you know what I mean, he would be justified just talking about nothing but law. But he was,
Mm-hmm.
he really was trying to communicate across education, across fields of study, across class. So he was a brilliant cat. And when I asked him what that meant, he said, "Look, man, make sure you have a pocket of money so that if your integrity is on the board, you can tell people where they need to go and
Mm-hmm.
stand on your own 2 feet." And it was just good to hear a brother at that level do that.
Mm-hmm.
But before I continue, I just want to say, shout out to PK Angel, Yasuke, Broman, definitely Officer Charles. What's going on? Anybody that was artisan, what's happening? Um, but yeah, shout out to all of y'all. But nah, man, he's a powerful brother. If you haven't seen anything else, if you haven't read anything else, read Faces at the Bottom of the Well.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't had any introduction here on YouTube, you can find Cosmic Slop. Look for the Space Traders episode, and that's where he had Robert Guillaume, who I
Yeah.
have a great deal of respect for, who played in that piece. And it was just it's a fiction piece, but it really wasn't about the aliens. It was really about us.
Yeah. About how white people felt about us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think in that piece, there's even some elements there that one could associate to critical race theory. Now, basically, you're going to get as many different answers about what critical race theory is as there are people giving you answers. You know what I mean? It's really going to be a lot of people's different interpretations, and there's a reason for that.
Wow.
I mean, when it begins in the mid 70s through the 80s, it's starting principally with legal scholars, black legal
Mm-hmm.
scholars, Derrick being one of the major ones, but you're dealing with Kimberly Crenshaw, Cheryl Harris, you got Richard Delgado, you got a number of Patricia Williams, you got a lot of these cats. And what they're really trying to do
Mm-hmm.
using the law is
Mm-hmm.
trying to, and this is just my humble explanation of it. They're trying to assess and quantify in terms of policy the way race works. So if you're going to talk about whiteness as a concept, if you talk about it as a racial concept, we know how to talk about white supremacy, we know how to talk about racism, we know how to talk about unfairness, you know what I mean? But if we're going to quantify whiteness in terms of policy, that's a whole different conversation. And they were crafting that in a way so we could talk about it on material grounds. So it's not just, I didn't get that housing loan because the banker was racist. It's
Mm-hmm.
more so what would be the impact of policies
Mm-hmm.
that denied whole groups of people access to housing loans.
Right. Right.
What
Right.
impact that have? You can even ask the question multi-generationally. So
Yeah. Like the color of money, I do believe actually went through that,
yeah,
which is yeah, which
yeah,
is
and
critical
those,
race theory.
which is critical. So they're quantifying the impact of policy in terms of crafting the advantages of whiteness and the disadvantages of blackness. And then by the time you get to them rolling in intersectionality, to me that's when it kind of goes off the rails. But basically that's just one split. But here's the critical split as far as I'm concerned, and this is why I say that critical race theory is a contested space, because now you get white liberals, and white liberals come into the conversation and they want to have a place. They want real estate in the conversation. And so when you shape critical race theory around white sensibilities, white liberal sensibilities,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes more about them than it becomes about the actual impact of the policies on black folk. And they
Right.
start trying to apply it to everybody in these kind of way. And they did the same thing to intersectionality. Well, they really did the same thing to everything. I mean, you could look at everything from Me Too to intersectionality.
Mm-hmm. Oh, even to civil rights and affirmative action, they did the
Absolutely.
same thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, civil rights becomes about everybody, right? And
Yeah.
the next thing you know, it becomes about everybody but black folk, and most
Mm-hmm.
particular, everybody but black men. And
Yeah.
I would argue the same thing has happened with most of these theories. But that's what kind of happened. So the reason you have so many people giving you so many different definitions is because there's a contested there's a series of arguments going on. There's a contested battle going on ideologically for who owns critical race theory, who it
Mm-hmm.
represents, what it means. So if you go to the people like Tommy Curry,
Mm-hmm.
brothers and sisters on the ground, they're going to point to your Derrick Bells, because Derrick was an advocate of what he called racial realism. He was an
Right.
advocate of, let's get to the brass tacks. Who is able to eat, who is starving, who is
Mm.
able to buy a home. You know what I
He
mean?
was
Just
he was
real,
pragmatic. Yeah.
real pragmatic, real on the ground.
Yeah.
By the time you get to white liberals, one of my mentors used to say that they kind of specialized in arguing about navel picking, you know,
Yes.
and that's kind of the way she kind of framed it, and I saw what she meant the more I began to study over the years. But I mean, I'll openly admit critical race theory is not one of my areas. It's not one of the areas I teach. I studied it in graduate school, so I
Mm-hmm.
know enough to have a basic definition. But at the end of the day, the reason it's so confusing is because there have been so many different investments and ideologies that have really complicated the waters, and they're
Mm-hmm.
fighting over that because you're also talking about resources. You're talking about money. You're talking
Yeah.
about departments. You're talking about universities. You're talking about conferences and fellowships, and once you
Mm-hmm.
start adding money and institutions into the conversation, then all of a sudden you get all these people that wouldn't touch CRT with a 10-foot pole in the 80s
Mm-hmm.
or in the
Yeah.
70s, that now all of a sudden they want real estate in the argument. And so
Yeah.
that complicates everything. And now you're getting this major pushback about getting rid of critical race theory. Now, when you're looking at some of the more watered down practices of it, then yeah, I understand. It's like, well, this just looks like it looks like just like victimization for no reason kind of thing. But when you really stick to the people who've made these arguments and have tried to apply them practically, tried to really transform the lives of Black folk, then
Mm-hmm.
you are throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You're throwing out the conversations that took race outside of individual anecdotal stories
Mm-hmm.
and applied it to the real world impact on a
Yeah.
lot of different. I mean, when again, you're talking about policy,
Mm-hmm.
so that can impact everything from access to healthcare to to real estate to hell, we can talk about the GI Bill, right?
Yeah.
What
Oh, how legally everybody's supposed to get it, but guess what happened?
exactly.
Only a few Black people actually got it
I,
back
I
then.
I think the arguments were somewhere around 1 in 5, but I think it was worse than
Oh,
that.
worse than that, like
It was
one in a
much worse
hundred.
than that.
1 in 100. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, what the point I'm getting at is, okay, so, and I do this with my students in Fresno, right? I'm like, look, how many of your grandfathers, great grandfathers, 'cause I forget their age sometimes, how many of your grandfathers or great grandfathers was in World War II? Every now
Mm-hmm.
and again, I get a hand up, and I try to explain to them, if your great grandfather got the GI Bill, it's
Mm-hmm.
very likely you would not be at Fresno State. You know what I mean? Buying property, buying, especially if you bought a house for $10,000 that ended up being 600,000, which in California is more than possible,
Yeah.
right? The impact of those resources going into a business that you got family members working in, whether they went to college or not. And if they went to college, they could actually come back and bring those skills to advance the family business. See, I'm saying those are critically different experiences that have a multi-generational impact, but they're all predicated on whether or not Black families were able to benefit from the GI Bill.
Yeah, it's something as simple as even when you buy property, how your property is appraised, Black versus white.
Absolutely.
You
I
know,
mean, we saw that recently.
yeah, we saw that in PG, one of the richest counties in Black counties in the country. Okay, their properties are appraised of 50% of what a white county of comparable value is.
hmm
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
I mean,
so.
I think there was a lady who was trying to sell her property sometime in the last year, and
Mm-hmm.
she had a white associate or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
there, and it changed the actual uh,
Appraiser.
bidding appraisal of the house, right? If you look at that on a macro level, and
Mm-hmm.
then you look at that over decades, what you end up walking away with is a real world impact of policy. And this is why I have problems with people who want to dismiss race, because much often they define race in terms of individual anecdotes of racism, and then they'll say things like, well, racism really, only existed during slavery or maybe a little bit after. You're defining racism based on whether or not somebody called you a name. That is not what racism is. When you
Mm-hmm.
really get to the core of what racism is, you're talking about a macro level treatment of whole groups of people based on lineage.
Mm-hmm.
That's still at play when you look at the percentage of black folk who own homes, the wealth status. We are the only community that hasn't even been repaired since the recession in 2008.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
what does that mean when we run into a pandemic and everybody else has at least been repaired from the recession?
And you have like 60% of your black businesses wiped out during the
Wiped out.
pandemic. Wiped out. Yeah.
Yeah. And if automation has dismantled 70% of the jobs since the 1980s, who do you think that impacts?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when the jobs targeted for automation were
Mm-hmm.
the jobs black men worked in the 1970s just before deindustrialization.
Look at Flint and look at Detroit, that were mixed
Exactly.
towns, right? And all of a
Exactly.
sudden, when the plants moved, uh, the white people moved with them. Guess who wasn't allowed to move with them? Black
Exactly.
people. Yeah. So.
I mean, yeah, driving around Fresno, you can't even, you know how hard it is to even find where elite white folks live? I mean, it's
Mm,
real interesting. And you can find this in a lot of different cities. You know, the where the elite actually position themselves, you can't even easily find them, let alone buy property next to them.
mm,
Right? So these are the kind of questions that you got to ask. So, you know, we talk about deindustrialization. So the jobs go overseas,
right.
late 70s, black men are unemployed. This is
Yeah.
around the same time we have the influx of drugs. So many turn to that industry
Mm, mm-hmm.
out of need. And then after a couple of years, you notice that whatever jobs are left start to mechanize anyway.
And then you have the importation during the Reagan years of Latinos from Central America and Mexico.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. And their children and grandchildren are the ones that are sitting in my class.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can see the kind of impact of that. Because mind you, as I'm saying, they're sitting in my class, the number of, let's just take black males, the number of black males at Fresno State, especially if you're talking about ADOS, is below 200. That number was probably 5 times that amount when I started there in 2008, 2009, right? This is happening across the board. So again, when we look at it from a standpoint of policy, that's at least one mechanism for examining the materiality of how law impacts the lives of everyday people. And if you want to dismiss that, especially if you have a superficial definition of race,
Mm-hmm.
then you really have a hard time explaining why so many black folk are perpetually poor outside of, you know, these kind of dismissive tropes like everybody's lazy and ain't
Right.
nobody trying hard enough. Well, if you look at it, black folk and black men in particular
Mm-hmm.
have done everything under the fucking sun
Mm-hmm.
in this society. Everything. There is nothing that black men in particular and black folk in general haven't done to be competitive. And when it got bad enough where the competition where black folk were competing at a
Mm-hmm.
high level, they burned their damn cities down.
Mm-hmm.
Black folk have done everything possible to compete, but if you don't have this macro institutional view on how societies interact on the basis of race, it
Mm-hmm.
always eludes you.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what critical race theory lended itself to. That was one attempt to manage the materiality of racial difference, racial treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, you know, oppression on the grounds of race. That was one of the major tools. So
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know if that answered anything.
I think so. Yeah. I think you made well. There's a reason that you've been a classroom teacher for like 25 years, because you did
I
probably did it better than I could. So.
well, I told you I didn't disagree with that because I saw you running people off. I was like, yeah, all right, there it is. That's how you do it. Mm.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know your time is fleeting, and yeah, because I know there's household issues you got to take care of. So,
Right.
you can
Yeah.
stay if you want. If not, I appreciate you. I put Dr. Johnson's Cash App in the chat. So if you want to throw him a couple quarters, give him you know, some perfume money, cologne money. What's your next? Are you done? Are you still? buy some items for a bat cave, or
You know what?
buy him a box of steaks, something like that.
You
Yeah.
sir, that's all.
Well, the thing is that you know I don't think you would hear this kind of discussion about critical race theory probably anywhere in the academy. Okay, it'd be kind of watered down and kind of slacked down a little bit. You'd have to go to like Harvard or Yale or Stanford to get this kind of discourse about critical race theory.
Well,
So,
well, I'll say this much: you know, you may hear it, but it would be within the confines of a classroom that only certain people have access to.
mm,
A lot of scholars are afraid of being completely public because they're worried about the blowback. They're worried about if they'll say something because it's cancel culture,
yeah.
and cancel culture affects the academy as well. So but at the end of the day, man, there's got to be brothers to speak up with some
Okay.
balls, and I'm just
Okay. Okay. Charles says he's got a question for you, so I'm gonna bring him up if that's okay.
is this the Charles I think it is?
It is the Charles you think it is. He ain't shit, but he's okay.
I think a lot of these.
Speak up a little bit.
I think
Speak
a
up
lot
a
of
little
these. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I think a lot of these educated women don't. I'm pretty sure you saw the BGS
That sounds like a lot.
Your mic is going in and out, Charles.
Okay, what about now? I had to fix it.
That's better.
I know you saw the clip that BGS posted.
And he's the reason I posted. He's the reason I posted it.
Oh yeah. I'm like, this is somebody who's a PhD, who's in school for a PhD. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm just a lonely, ordinary, regular, not that smart of a guy. From an academia standpoint, what was her biggest issue? Like, she couldn't believe what she was hearing, or the only truth she believed was it only has to come out of the mouth of a professor. What was it?
I mean, my humble thing, because you apparently you seem to know her, but all I can say from my humble opinion is she, you know, you have this idea that you're smarter than everyone around you if you get this piece of paper and you sit in these classes. Now, technically, if you have a doctorate, all it means is that you've had years of study on one particular area. That's all it really means. People used to talk to me like, what do you mean you can't program your VCR? You got a doctorate. And it's like, dude, look, I didn't get a doctorate in VCR programming. I got a doctorate in a specific subject. You know what I mean? That's all it means is you've mastered one little area. My thing, when I listened to that exchange, what I heard was somebody who thought she was going to come in and intimidate people with her status as a grad student and wipe the floor with you because she studied something. She was not prepared for autodidacts. She was not prepared for intelligent, because there's intelligent people everywhere. Just because you got a degree doesn't mean.
Intellectually, I felt kind of embarrassed for her, because when I just started talking about testosterone and then other subjects, it kind of like you could probably see the smoke come out of her ears. Like, I'm not sure about that. I didn't study on that. I'm like, so you don't read?
Well, it's not that she doesn't read. More than likely, she reads what she was assigned. And now, from my understanding, wasn't she a philosopher?
Yeah, philosophy PhD.
Okay, so that's even more specific, right? But she wasn't prepared for these people she'd never known before who don't apparently have letters behind their name, challenging what she said and providing her with evidence she wasn't ready to defend it. So that's the thing. It's an arrogance that I think some people have because they have a piece of paper. And I don't, I've never looked at it that way because I've been around too many brilliant cats that didn't finish high school. I mean, my grandfather used to teach in prisons. You know what I mean? My father was a pastor, but he was a former Black Panther. He's doing activism everywhere from in the South to Africa. I've been around too many intelligent people that didn't have letters. And hell, some of them did get letters, but they got letters later. They were already brilliant. So to me, it was like, okay, well, that means that this piece of paper gives you access to certain areas, but it doesn't mark you as smarter than anyone else. It just means you can follow through a system. You can participate in an area where you're able to get through. It has nothing to do with intelligence. And it's what she came in on.
And I believe that's so, because even speaking with her today, she wanted to bring up, why do Black men worry about their fitness and not their wellness? I'm like BGS said, that's one and the same. You can't have one without the other. And she wanted to bring up, well, black people want to be in shape, but y'all talk about Lizzo, and I said, look, shorty, what happened to your father when he had a heart attack was a freak accident. That rarely happens.
Mm.
Well, let's look at Lizzo. A lot of women don't make it past 50 with her size and her weight. A lot of women don't. 55 if you're lucky. So, and that's just people in general when you're morbidly obese. Because one, your heart has to pump faster, it has to pump harder. Everybody forgets your heart is a muscle too, and it's the only muscle that doesn't stop working, thank God. So when I told her, when she said, I said, let's look at black men's health and their life expectancy. And she got mad because I said, okay, do white men have to go through what black men go through when in terms of racism or job opportunities? Do they have to go through what they go through with their women? Do they have to go through what they do on the job? Are they respected within their society? And then she got mad. Why do you always you hate black? It seems like you just have a hatred of black women. I said, no, I'm just giving you the truth. Do black women traditionally respect their men? And I hate it when really, really smart people become disingenuous about a truthful answer.
Right.
And she's like, well, you got this hate. I don't hate anybody. I said, here's the point. Myself and the good Dr. Dunbar yesterday at the cigar lounge with the cigars, with the liquor and hanging around.
I told Dr. Dunbar about hanging out with Officer Charles a little too much. Okay.
Hey, Charles is a bad dude, man. Charles tonight and last night. Charles's arms are holy. They are holy.
Oh my God! I forgot about that last night, man. Oh my God! Don't let Dr. Dunbar tell the story because it's gonna be funny as hell.
I'm gonna tell Art of Immore next time.
You can tell BGS the story because he's gonna ask anyway. Go ahead, you can tell him.
How much trouble did he get you into first?
No, man. I just got to witness his greatness. I went to the restroom and I came back. And this woman was sitting there fawning over him. She said, she said, your arms. She said something like, your arms are it. Your arms are, that. Yeah. She was like, the size of the arms, man. She was done whatever Charles wanted.
Okay. She was mesmerized. Huh?
She was swooning. Yeah. Like they used to do with Teddy Pendergrass. She was swooning. We just want to give Doc a little bit, man. We don't give him the whole thing because we might sway Doc to the dark side. Dr. Goodbar might take over. Okay. Yes. So I told Charles, hey man, I gotta come up and shadow you for a workout, so I know what to do, and I come back to my arms looking like one of the X-Men.
I saw him on Facebook with the turtleneck and the drink in his hand. I said, nah, he already on the dark side. That brother, he done crossed over and become a Sith Lord, man.
High value man.
My work is done. My work is done. It's funny because that was so unexpected because she was bringing like she had 2 Ace of Spades bottles, so that's money. And I'm like, hey, damn, it must have been a good night for you. She's like, shoot, there's nothing as good as looking as you. I was like,
oh shit. About a THOT in action. Go ahead, Dr. Dunbar.
Should I add something? I'm gonna drop off because I gotta eat. But back to what was your name, Charles? Your friend?
Lynn.
Yeah. So the thing is that. And I've said this, when it comes to those degrees for the women, for most of them, I don't want to generalize all of them, but it's almost as though they know everything. So take me, for example. I can tell you guys everything about drug metabolism and protein degradation and protein synthesis. But when Dr. Johnson starts talking, I know that I don't know what he knows about his field. So I'm going to be quiet and listen and see what I can learn. But for a lot of our women, I'm doctor now, so you can't tell me anything.
Yeah, you're right, Dr. Dunbar, because the whole gist of talking to her, it's like I had to tell her. I said, I'm going to warn you for a second. I'm not a dumb guy. I'm pretty multifaceted, and I try my best to live up to it. I don't know shit, but I have you and Dr. T on speed dial just in case and BGS. So when you actually confront women, because like I said, 90% of the women on paper have more education than me. But also 90% of the women I've dated always ask me to help them on their paper or their subject. So a lot of it is not one giving the due pleasure or the honor of Black men. Like I've said it before on my channel, there's a lot of Black women who owes their degrees to a bunch of Black men, whether it's their Pookie, Ray Ray, or the classic or educated, whatever. Because when you look at it, a lot of them get really confuffled and confused when it comes to logical questions. Like I had one girl try to talk to me about, remember that thing you said years ago when you and the guy BGS were talking about they trying to get rid of Roe versus Wade 5 years ago?
Yeah.
They just talked about
Carob.
Yeah, they were like, and she was like, they talking about that now. I said, duh. I said, when I try to tell you shit, well, my professor, I said, I bet you I could talk to your professor right now. And it was funny because one time she let me talk to the professor, and I always get this in the police department, just like in the military. Sir, what's your degree in? The guy ain't finished college. Wow.
Oh. I wanted to go ahead. I'm sorry, Professor.
No. Go ahead, Charles, and you guys can chime in a little bit. I'm trying to,
Well, I was
not overwhelm Dr. Johnson.
No, I was going to say I have a colleague who's a hip hop artist who was extremely well known in the early '90s, and he was known as one of the principal conscious MCs, right? And one of the things he told me a story about his wife, because he got married, and this is long after his career kind of subsided, and she really kind of saw herself as better than him because she was finishing this master's degree. But she messed around and brought him to her graduation and introduced him to her mentors, her professors. And they were talking about how much they learned from his albums. And she ended up standing there really looking stupid, but also confused because she really bought into this idea that this degree made her better than her man, who to her was just a rapper who no longer was rapping, not realizing the impact he had on why those professors had even went to school in the first place. So I find that Black men, like what Charles is describing, we even without letters, we still have an impact. And the women I found that do best when they get advanced degrees are women that can appreciate what a man brings to the table, especially intellectually, regardless of his educational standing. And those women seem to really be able to socialize in a much different way. But when they come in with that spirit of superiority, it really gets in the way of what could be quality relationships over pieces of paper that, it just really doesn't make any sense.
And I think that's the thing about it, Professor, that a lot of women shoot down on, and this is shoot down a lot of good men. When they said there's not a lot of good men, they look at good as the doctor or the letters in front, the 2 letters in front or the 3 letters in behind the name, instead of looking for the quality. Because right now they don't understand the quality of a man. You take away all this education, you take away all this technological advantage that we have, you're gonna have to build down at some point, even in today's society of killer instinct and survival. A lot of women are not surviving very well.
True.
Well, guys,
I just sent BGS a video today of Amazon and the delivering for Amazon. And there are a lot of women in this short NBC based news thing that are talking about how difficult it is. But really, they're complaining, even though they're working like men have worked for generations, but they're still complaining because things are getting so much more difficult. So you're dead on.
Yeah. Go with Dr. Dunbar. You want to say something?
Yeah, this will be my last comment. I mean, isn't that what Art Newstall talks about when he talks about scholarship? It's continuing to learn. It's being open to information. It's being malleable enough to admit when you don't know. And it seems like for for Charles's friend, she kind of came in not knowing, and then also not being willing to accept new information.
Right. Well, especially because the source didn't fit her standard for a reputable source, but she couldn't deny it and she couldn't challenge it.
Yeah.
Which BGS has a habit of doing to people. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, Kenshawn, you wanted to continue the conversation. All right. Kenshawn's got a question for you. What you looking like on time, Doc?
I'll probably do another 10 minutes if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. I just want to make sure it's cool for you. Okay. I'm gonna add Kenshawn to the screen. You want to ask a question?
Yes, I did.
Okay, go ahead. We're listening.
I wanted to first go into 1954 as it relates to continue to talk about the racism in terms of the job force.
Okay, you're Borging. So repeat that. I don't know what 1954 has to do with it, but go ahead. No, that's way before 1954. But what? Okay, you're Borging. Okay, we're getting like every other word.
You're cutting out. We can't really hear you.
That would have went to the black family. Can you hear me properly?
No, the thing is, you're Borging. We're getting every other word. That's what we're trying to tell you. You dropped off.
Come out or something. You're
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, I actually had a statement and a question for the doctor.
Hold on, Truth.
So the statement first is, I have been lucky that my younger sister, who's actually about 7 or 8 months away from graduating law school, has always still spoken to me with respect and has actually brought me into some of her spaces. She has a master's degree also, brought me in some of her spaces and actually used some of my quotes when she was speaking. So I got lucky with that. And my girlfriend also college degreed up. So I got lucky with that. The question is, Dr. Johnson, do you find that sometimes it's difficult to also get Black people to understand critical race theory? And there's a reason why I asked that. 30 more seconds. It's because what I find is a lot of Black people do think that it's about anecdotal experiences and someone calling you the N-word or someone being negative or mean to you in your personal day-to-day life, and they don't understand the larger social and legal ramifications of critical race theory. And I'll pause right there.
Well, I mean, I would say I'm a little biased because, mind you, the only people I really have conversations with about critical race theory, say on campus, are students who are already taking courses. You know what I mean?
Okay.
This conversation we're having now about eliminating it, I'm hearing Black folk respond, to it negatively in certain circles. But, when you ask them, have you actually taken classes in this, especially from someone who understands, I've not heard a lot, suggested as to that being a yes. You know what I mean? So I think what tends to be missing from this conversation is you're getting Black folk who are getting the idea of what CRT is from white liberals, from mainstream news, and they're responding to what they think it is, and a lot of the time it's almost a straw man argument because it's being reworked into something else. But if you go back to that racial realism of Derrick Bell, I'm sorry, I dropped some.
Oh, okay.
If you go to that racial realism of Derrick Bell, if you go to that very practical, policy-based analysis of how this structure works, you can see the utility of it, and you can better understand how it impacts lives on a massive level, and it really changes the conversation. But as long as it stays on surface level issues like misunderstandings of intersectionality or whatever, then it becomes something easier to dismiss. And that's why I called it a contested space, because it often depends on who you're asking when they define it for you. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know if I missed your question, but I'm just.
No, that's actually perfect. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay. Kenshawn is back. Maybe he's got a better. And let's keep it short because they only got like 5 minutes left. So,
okay.
So Kenshawn, keep it short.
Yes, I would just read. First of all, I'm honored to be in the presence of, this is the most knowledge I've been in my life around at one time. But I'll just go right in to continue what Charles spoke about yesterday on his show, Dr. Hassan Johnson. Um, so from in 1954, about 2,000 black teachers were responsible for teaching 2 million black children and represented approximately 90%. I'm sorry, 50% of the black professional class. In that decade, the following Brown decision, almost 40,000 black teachers were administrations, and 17 southern and border states lost their jobs, wiping out 25% of the black professional class. All of this equated to 20 billion missing from the black community in these states. What is your response to that, panel? And I'll listen. Thank you, guys.
Well, this is actually something BGS and I were talking about the other day. I was telling him historically some of the most brilliant educators, particularly black educators,
Mm-hmm.
were actually many black women who were conducting these one-room schoolhouses, particularly all through the South, up until the 1954 decision. So what you had was, these teachers, sometimes they would have a master's degree from an HBCU, but they might be conducting one room where they had kids from the local area that range from kindergarten through high school. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And they
Mm-hmm.
would actually be giving a critical education, a critical curriculum, while managing all those grade levels at the same time. This is where, if you look up John Henrik Clark's educational origin, when he tells the story of his early education, that's how he was educated, in a one-room schoolhouse with a teacher who didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
That's the legacy and the quality of black intellectualism, black education very early on. By the time you get to 1954, by the time you get to this whole question of integration and
Mm-hmm.
education, now we're talking about people who don't have a vested interest
In the
in
community.
it.
Yeah.
It's still something we grapple with today. I mean, I've talked about this on my own channel. I live in an area where you can tell that it's only recently become, integrated, so to speak, right? So when you go to the schools, the reason we know that is because all the teachers are still, or at least when my son was in kindergarten, all the teachers were still white, but the majority of the kids were everything but. And it happened so fast that the teachers hadn't acclimated yet. And you can see the difference in how they treated white kids versus everybody else. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we've been dealing with for, really the last almost 70 years. And it's still, so it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. But I hope I didn't, I think I may have missed this question. I apologize if I did.
Thank you. No, you answered it right on the button, because following in 1975 up to 1985, which
Mm-hmm.
you had is the public school losing the 18% public school rate of the black male teachers, which prohibited more to the loss of wealth going to the black community from that teacher.
Yeah, I think it's more impactful than just the loss of wealth. The loss of wealth that, teachers didn't make that much. Okay. Um, and what it
Right,
did, it
each
was
white
actually,
teacher making
the thing is that,
$4
well, the thing is that's where critical race theory actually comes in, okay, and that's what Derrick Bell actually said. Even though it's supposed to be equal, Brown versus Board of Education was actually supposed to eliminate the disparity between black education and white education, because education, just like anything else, is a function of money. Okay, the more
Mm-hmm.
money and resources you pour into an education, into a school, the better the school is going to be. Okay, so even though the teachers, even the female teachers back then, one room classroom, fought mightily against the odds of what they had to come up against. Did they have some stars? Yes, but got to remember, most kids didn't pass sixth grade.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Most kids did not pass sixth grade in that environment. Okay, and then
right?
those teachers were actually in a what, rural environment. The one room classroom was not an urban environment. You didn't see one room classrooms in Chicago or New York or DC or places like that. There's no such thing as a one room classroom. Okay, so you have to actually have you actually have to have the education fit the environment that you're in.
Hey,
Okay,
can I say
In the
something
one
real quick?
go ahead.
schoolhouse.
Right, and by the
What we need, what we needed,
was
what we needed was more of them. See what?
I
by
got
the
to say
time a
something.
white man was 25, he received 50% more education than the black.
There's a whole host of reasons for
At
that. Go
that
ahead,
time.
Dr. Johnson. There's a whole cultural reason for that. It doesn't just start with the classrooms. There's a whole cultural reason for that. Go ahead, Dr. Johnson.
I was just gonna say I appreciate you having me up here, and shout out to you, shout out to Charles, AD. Appreciate all y'all having me up.
There's two people they always ask for most on my channel. Okay, you're one, and the other person I haven't gotten on yet, which is Warren B. Which is Warren Lance. Okay, you guys are two most requested people on my channel.
Last question, real quick, Dr. T. How much did you snicker? Video.
What? Oh, who knows? I was laughing before that. But no, I wanted to say something to this dude in the comments who's calling people blue pill. Look, I'm critical of black women on a lot of different fronts where it's definitely merited, but I don't have a problem acknowledging when people come correct. And I'm not going to sit here and say throughout the history of African folks, black African descent in the Western Hemisphere, that a sister's never come correct. I saw, the impact of those teachers at that time, right? I'm not going to dismiss that. You know what I mean? Even though, so I just wanted to put that out there. But I'm critical. I'm not one who's going to sidestep criticizing black women out of fear or because I want to meet some kind of standard. That's ridiculous. But at the same time, if you can't acknowledge historically what's accurate for one reason or another, then what's the point? What's the point of anything we're talking about if we can't be historically accurate? It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, hey, I appreciate you having me up here, man.
Okay. Oh, now the pleasure's ours, man. You always, you always have an open invitation. But I know that. Hold on a second. Can I finish speaking before you guys chime in? I know people want to say goodbye, but the thing is, you have an open invitation anytime you want to stop in. I know panels aren't really your thing, which is why I don't really kind of press you into service that much. But the thing is that when you talk, we listen. Okay, now, go ahead, y'all. You guys want to say closing thoughts to Dr. Johnson before he goes? We can't hear you.
I was just saying, it's so great to be in the presence of a man who's so educated, and I'm in years with him.
Yeah, you're really low.
Yeah, your mic is really bad. Okay, who's next?
Appreciate you, Doc, for everything you do, all the service you bring to the manosphere. Just keep it coming. Thank you, BGS, for always keeping them around. All our professors. Thank you.
Oh, much appreciated. And BGS, I really appreciate you kept this alive in honor of the good brother Force Windu. ShatterPoint, you know what I mean? Shout out to him and his family. His wife reached out to me a few weeks ago, or at least on Father's Day.
Okay.
But shout out to that family and shout out to the brother. I wish him well.
Yeah. Powerful brother, man. Wherever you at, man. Hope you keep an eye on us, man. He's a spook that sits by the door in heaven, man. So whenever time to go, y'all rush through. Ask for Force Windu.
Yeah. What's up?
Right. Thank you, Dr. T, once again. Woo!
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one, Dr. T.
All right. And my best to Dr. Dunbar. He disappeared, but shout out to him.
Yeah, we got to keep him out of trouble, man. He's been hanging out with Charles too much. He turned into Dr. Goodbar.
I got him good. We just waiting for Dr. T to come over to Baltimore as well.
Oh boy. Here we go.
All right, y'all take it easy.
Jeez.
All right.
Oh man.
All right, we're wide open now, folks.
That video he showed about a couple days ago, that chick beating on that dude, it was so bad. My cousin, who criticized me on Facebook for getting on black women, looked at that video and said, I would have wore her ass out. That's how bad it was.
What video was
this is PK says on World Star, this is video of this chick just wailing on this, I guess her boyfriend or something.
Your boyfriend, yeah.
I seen the video, like the Jersey cop beating on that boy. I seen that. I ain't seen it. I don't know what's that.
But you gotta bring your mic up there, the truth, because we can barely hear you, man.
Yeah, you come in. But yeah, my cousin always criticized me for getting on black women. Looked at that video and said, "Nah, nah, dude, I would have wore her ass out." I was like, "Damn."
Who's got the noise in the background?
It's not me.
Somebody fixing dinner or what? So if you got noise going in the background, mute yourself. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, AB.
But yeah, it's always a pleasure to have Dr. T up on the panel. I know he's a busy dude. Got all that curriculum and stuff to plan out.
Oh yeah, well yeah, but he gets calls, and texts and emails, all the time. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for him to manage. But the thing is that especially since YouTube and people, more people know him, they reach out to him all the time. He's become the black male advocate.
Yeah.
So when I can get him, I can get him. He just happened to be in the chat. So normally he's pretty busy.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
That's a lot better.
Okay. Good. I had to switch headphones real quick. My bad, BGS. But basically, what video was that? Can you think one of y'all could we bring that up? Because somebody we got something that nigga getting beat up. Why is a whole lot of why is it a lot of black men getting beat up lately? BGS, like I'm noticing that we getting our ass.
It's been happening since the OJ thing with the Violence Against Women Act, where guys literally couldn't put your hands on women. The only difference is it's being filmed now. Guys are actually using their phones to actually film it in case the cops come. So in other words, now you have a chick wailing on you, right? And if she calls the cops, you're going to jail. So you're actually filming it so you don't go to jail. We're actually seeing it more. This has been going on. It's nothing new.
Oh yeah, it's nothing new. This is going at least 30 years back, probably longer than that.
Getting busted upside the head by black women, man.
Yes.
Fuck that. That's not my fate. That's bullshit.
Well, take your chances.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. They're gonna have to compete like everybody else. Fuck that. If I'm gonna get look, man, if I'm gonna get busted upside the head anyways, like your ass gonna compete. You got me fucked up.
Well,
you ain't just going fuck the loyalty shit. You just gonna try to kill me and shit.
It depends on the state that you're into. But Charles is right here. Charles can tell you. Charles is a cop.
Shit, man.
Hey, BGS call him Klingon for a reason.
Yeah, they're
I've had one or two women try me.
Bruh.
I will say that I didn't hit them, but they don't know that pressure points hurt like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna play with your body like an accordion.
Yeah.
That could be an R&B song, by the way.
Yeah. Normally I grab them by the wrist and squeeze.
Oh yeah.
That normally gets them to stop messing with you.
I had one chick at the work try to square up with me, and I'm like, chick, you don't want this in your life. So I just said, okay, all right, you really want this? So I hit the wall, and you can see the knuckle print in the wall, and then she started to back down. I'm like, do you really think that you would have took me? She was like, yeah, I thought that I could take you. I fought men before. Have you ever won? No. Like fucking wrong with you?
She got a hard hit, huh?
Well, why would you go through all that? Like, what the hell? Like,
because black
women I don't understand.
Simple. I think it's like Lynn. She gets mad at me because she thinks that I hate black women, or she's upset with me. But see, the craziest part about it is that she's not used to being around people just as smart or smarter than her.
Yeah,
it's not in the book.
She doesn't like being. She doesn't like being wrong.
Yeah, and black men are not given the credit for their intellectual prowess, especially when in terms of dealing with them. Like, look, I can outsmart you any time of the fucking day. That's why they get mad about the Pookies and Ray Rays, because Pookies and Ray Rays outsmart them every day.
Mm-hmm.
The lesser of us.
Isn't that me?
Yeah, you're a Pookie.
Am I BGS? Am I like educated Pookie? Am I like Pookie?
You haven't been completely educated yet, so you're still a Pookie right now.
Okay, so I'm base Pookie. Okay.
You're base Pookie. You're still base Pookie. Pookie can have an AA.
Base Pookie is hysterical.
You're not Super Saiyan yet.
I'm trying to get to enlightened Pookie. Like I'm trying to get to master the universe Pookie level. Like,
well, we'll see. You got to have a couple of degrees to be master of the
Sounds like
universe.
Future or 50 Cent to me.
oh.
I'm just looking at it where you got these women beating up on these men like this, and then they want to complain about we're victims. I'm like, how? I've seen the domestic violence. Like, how? Well, he tried to hurt me. How?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the guy. The guy's like 6'4", 300 pounds, and I'm like, how?
Yeah. The biggest switch was after the OJ trial with the Violence Against Women Act, and they went after white guys. They went after cops. But guess who the main target's going to be? It's going to be black men. Yeah.
Anybody has that video? Because I really want to see that damn video.
Oh, okay. I can't. He's done a number of them. The one he did one with answering Mike Rashid, but I don't know that particular video. I don't know exactly where that one is with the girl beating up on the guy, and he's taking it. Little bitty thing. The dude is like 6'1", and the chick's like 5'2", and she's swinging on him, and she's not hurting him. The thing is, she won't stop.
Yeah, he eating all that shit.
Who did a video on this?
Dr. Johnson actually had it in one of his videos. I just can't remember which one it is.
Was it the Mike Rashid one?
If you go to his Facebook page, you probably can find it. Find that particular video. So I would say go if you want to find that particular segment. I know it's on his Facebook page.
Yeah, because I looked at that shit and I'm like, when I've heard some of the parts when he was talking about Mike Rashid, and I'm like, oh my God, you pandering to this shit. You don't know how many times black women are the aggressors in domestic violence. They're not dainty fucking women. I'm getting tired of saying this whole spiel to every woman I meet. Mm-hmm. Oh, you educated, okay? So you got a bit of feminist in you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I just look at women. There's so many women I meet. We don't talk anymore after like the third conversation because they get you hate women. You just don't want to. You want to over talk people. And I said, shorty, I will send you the clip right now and look how you scream. I said, shorty, we had hundreds of people watching you, if not thousands now. You're the one screaming. I'm telling you, stop screaming. But no, you won't let me talk. You talk too much. That's your problem. You're trying to convey a whole situation to speak, but you don't want anybody else to get a word in. I said, and this is the reason why you're single?
Mm-hmm. That's why 92s are normally single.
I think all that physicality towards men from women is because society looks at women as the weaker vessel. So when women beat up on men, they just like, oh, well, he can take it.
And that's part of it, but also, like I said, it go back to the original Violence Against Women Act in 1995, 1994, 1995. Right after the OJ trial, they actually passed this law about violence against women, and where you barely could lay a hand on a woman, okay, without going to jail. It was automatically puts you, before it was actually mediate, right? The cops actually go out and mediate the domestic disputes, right? But they didn't want that. They wanted somebody to go to jail. If there was an aggressor had to go to jail. They changed that in 1995 after the OJ trial.
I'm about to say, because I remember a situation in the military. It's totally like the male, the service member. You might as well say he's in the wrong, because there was a situation where I left my house because my ex-wife was getting physical with me.
What year was that?
2009.
So what did I just say?
Yeah, but it's like I left the house.
That was the change. That was the change. That was change for everybody. You had hardcore gang banging criminals that couldn't lay a hand on their girlfriend. These are the guys that had
Are we still live?
Hey, BGS cut out. I think
he did.
BGS might have cut out.
BGS cut out because I thought it was.
BGS cut out.
What? I checked my wife. I was like,
boss, breaker 19, boss, come on.
I think BGS cut out.
I will call you the master teacher, but I don't want nobody coming up here bitching about that shit.
No, he's the master educator. We don't give a damn what this is.
We don't give a damn, but somebody bitch. Shit.
Niggas be coming up here acting like master bitch and shit.
Wow.
But we're gonna carry the show till he come back up. You
Did
know,
anybody see that
Pick up the slack.
situation?
Focus time. Pick up the slack, PhD.
Did anybody see that situation with Taraji P? Hello?
Go ahead.
said what?
Go ahead.
I said, did anybody see that situation on the BET Awards where Taraji P she was bigging up the women, talking about Black Girl Magic and everything, and then everybody was applauding.
She was talking that a couple months ago though, so I'm confused about that.
So basically, what did she say?
So she was bigging up the black women and their long eyelashes and all this other nonsense, and everybody was clapping and applauding and being all extra loud. And then she was like, "But we need our black men. Black men come back home," and the crowd just got silent.
Oh no, nigga, nope.
The crowd just got silent. So
you straightening.
Oh, go ahead. Hold on. Let him finish.
So I'm wondering, are the women doubling down on the gynocracy, or are our message in the black manosphere actually getting out to the masses?
Yes and yes. They're doubling down and the message is getting out. Go ahead, Charles.
Well, number one, it's doubled down. Plus, shout out to Kevin. 1 million, baby. 1 million. One of us made it. 1 million. That's mainstream, baby.
To Kevin.
Woo! Can we give Kevin a woo chat and panel? Woo! Goddamn.
Woo!
Because now a lot of shit that we're speaking on is now mainstream, and because it's mainstream,
that like a Ric Flair woo?
Yes.
Okay, BDS is back.
No, good.
Then you got to remember, a lot of our thanks to Kevin, Angry Man, BGS, Dr. T, GG, and others. A lot of our messages became mainstream, and now you cannot debate it because it's not some type of it's not suggestive, it's objective. And that's why they're mad, because now they can't use the same talking points that they were saying beforehand. So
my next question is,
go ahead.
Is this bringing the gender war to another level, or is it revamping the gender war? Because it seems like they're trying to draw the line.
There is no war. The gender war is dead. It's been.
What's the BGS said?
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe, like BGS said a couple of days ago, women come to the table now, and they're coming to the manosphere, particularly.
It sounds like that.
They don't have a choice.
It sounds like that, but like I was talking about in the BET Awards, and these influencers, they influence these women, the social media influencers, the entertainers, the people in movies and music. That stance that they had, where it kind of got quiet when they said we need our black men. They kind of hushed up, and you can go on YouTube and look it up. It just got silent.
Yeah, because it's obvious. You're looking at an economic disaster. 60% of black businesses got wiped out. Automation's coming for black female jobs. OnlyFans getting ready to dump a whole lot of chicks on the street. It's not rocket science.
Whoa!
It ain't rocket science.
That was a great video.
Yeah.
So are we going? So are we going to continue to exist as a black ethnicity, or are they going to play ball, or are they going to take their ball and go home?
No, talking about black women. It doesn't matter. It's not on the women anymore. If the women want to compete for their men, they can. The thing is, it matters about where the black men are going. Okay, because most of this is actually a Generation X. Even the boomers are well aged out of it. Boomers not even in the conversation anymore. It's basically Generation X conversation, and maybe early generation millennials, right? Millennials. But Z's are not race loyal at all. They're picking the best woman for them. So basically, if they can't convince the Z's to actually be with them, that's why I played that video about the wall of indifference, right? You hear a whole bunch of young women saying that black men are not checking for them.
Yeah, and I've noticed that.
So let me give me 1 second to give BGS.
Man, fuck
BGS,
your second.
how many?
Fuck your second, nigga. But go ahead.
Fuck your couch.
Right.
and your plum wine.
God damn it! Look, she actually bought up plum wine the other day, and I was like, damn, that's what I'm gonna be known for from now on, even by my own girlfriend.
Yep, plum wine.
But no, I was saying, going back to what you just said, look at the examples that we've had over the past year and a half maybe of young girls. We're not talking about like 20-something-year-olds. We're talking about like 16-year-olds, 17, 18-year-olds crying in their parents' car or maybe their car about how they're not being checked for by these young black men. And these are not ugly young women, right? These are like okay looking and pretty young women, and they're literally crying about this stuff. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's very true. Oh, that's very true because I'm meeting a lot of very pretty women. Matter of fact, I got a whole bunch of hey big head texts like women who I haven't been with for years, and I mean like 5, 6, 7 years hitting me up and say, "Are you single? Are you still looking?" I kid you not. And then I'm sorry, Dr. Dunbar gonna tease me about that shit for the rest of my life. He said, "Dude," and I'm like, it's so funny that I don't even think I'm where I want to be physically, and it's like when you got to set me up with Ron Wills, BGS, got to set me up with Ron Wills.
Okay. All right. That's
we got to talk about we got to do a thing on his stream or my stream where we talk about the body game.
Okay.
And it's funny, like all these women, and I mean at least 6s and above, are just like, "Hey, are you single?" You know, it's like they're looking for hope.
Yeah, they are.
It's not like they are looking for hope.
They're desperate because the path that their mothers and feminists have put them on is a dead end. Unless you're an elite, a top 10, top 15% of females, it's a dead end. And it's not just you have to negotiate with your men. You have to compete for your man because you have white girls, you have Latinas, you got all these other women looking for the same kind of guy. Okay, and they don't care what color the chair is that they sit in.
BGS, I said that on. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
I have a question for the panel. What do you guys think about the women who are going to the universities? And there's 2 universities now that are teaching other races of women how to learn black men. How do you feel about that, panel?
It should put the fire on the black. How do I? They should be. Yeah. Because number one, you have first access to them.
Well, the thing is it's really the professors. That's actually finishing school, right? If you notice the history of the culture and how black women act, this goes all the way back to the slavery. Okay, this is not new. Okay, you can read any female fiction, right? Black female fiction. It's all the same. The tropes are all the same. I was reading Their Eyes Are Watching guy by Zora Neale Hurston, written in the 1930s, right? The same fucking tropes were still there. It has not changed. They're not getting this from the university. They're getting it from their mama and their grandmama. I mean, they're layering it. All feminism did was actually give them a little extra boost. Okay, that's all it did. All it did was free them.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Yeah, I wanted to hop up here on this point right quick because this wall of indifference, bruh. I'm with Charles. They hunt me down, bruh. I mean, excuse me, I'm getting called sir, sir. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Lenny actually called me sir. I was shocked.
But we talked about this 3 years. We talked about this 3 years ago when one of these content creators came in and she wanted to use numbers and talk about men then. And I made the comment to her. I says they are trying to eliminate black people. They're breeding you out.
Yeah.
Right?
Trying to meld you into what people of color.
well, people of color, right? That's number one, and you actually are leading the charge, being their biggest guard dog for intersectionalism and all that bullcrap, not realizing they're actually trying to put a moat around your men so that you can't get to them, even with the policies, right? Now you're seeing black men going, fuck it, I'm not going to even deal with the crap on getting a chance of getting locked up on some stuff like that, right? I says, and you've also, from all these policies, what they have found out was they actually made a better black man. Black men thought the out of birth work was bad, took that down. Ain't working, middle class worked up, right? We got other issues that we need to work on. We got more black men in college than we do in prison. Overall, as a group, we're not even supposed to be doing well. We actually should be doing the worst. We actually should have been like the Native Americans.
0.2% wealth.
Yeah, right. So when we were talking about this, I said, look, what you're failing to understand is
wealth is very complex. Okay, the thing is, you just can't talk about policies. Like I'll give you one example, right? Well, PG County versus Fairfax County, right? What does it do to your wealth if your house is appraised at half the value of somebody of a comparable neighborhood? What's it going to do to your wealth over time? Sean, what do you think it's going to do? Huh?
It's going to deplete it.
It's going to deplete it. Where, for the vast majority of white people, where does their wealth come from?
Generational.
Their home. Their home. So if you appraise a black family's home at a third of the price of a white family home, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to their wealth?
You're going to
lose
it.
Everything else. In other words, it's going to be a third. It's going to be
a third less valuable.
2/3 less valuable. So there's a whole lot of ways that systematically that black wealth is actually eroded in this country. That's what critical race theory is about.
Right. But that's what I think the critical race theory topic actually is, because money is coming some kind of way. Yeah, and that's like Dr. T was talking about. They're trying to make a place, like you said before, with intersectionalism, civil rights. They got in when the money, after the money showed up. I think this is their position for getting in ahead of it before the money shows up. So, but I was telling even here over here in Austin, Texas, you see it too much, man. These non-black women, man, they not playing, bro. They're not. They talking about cook your meal, clean your apartment before you even take them on a date. Like, these women out here are not playing. When they want a man, they go get one, and that's what I try to get my daughter to understand. You know, I was like, look, it takes a hell of a lot to be a housewife, man. You know what I mean? That's a lot.
One time.
Now, it's so funny nowadays. You don't have to approach. You just got to sit there. And look to be in your best shape. That's why I keep begging BGS to get Ron Wills, and we'll do a body game expo for you. It's so funny, because if you look like something, all you got to, a lot of black dudes, all they need to do is clean themselves up, and you'd be surprised at the level of women that will come after you.
Yeah, I agree.
It's funny. But like I was saying before, the reason why I said that they're breeding them out. Let's say you have a black dude that marries any other non-biracial group, right? If they have a son and a daughter, the son is typical and follow the father's footsteps, right? Unless he just wants to be with a sister, right? That's why that's like BGS has said before. He's already seen it, because that's what California is. It's just mulattoes.
Okay.
That's all it is. I forgot. I saw a video where they were talking about a whole bunch of young black girls are leaving California.
I'm gonna give you an example, right? And this is somebody that's doing reactions to Kevin Samuel's videos, right? Okay, this is her and her boyfriend. I'm gonna just show you real quick. I'm gonna share it to you.
Okay.
This is what's going on for people that don't believe it, right? This is an actual channel. You actually go to her. Okay, that's her and that's her boyfriend. She does black manosphere content, right?
Yep.
That's her and her boyfriend.
Yeah, she all up on that nigga. God,
that's her boyfriend. That's her boyfriend.
That's her boyfriend. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one that made her famous. Yeah.
Pulling on the nigga's sweater and shit. I know I didn't just see that. She done pulled on his sweater. She leaning on him like
that's her boyfriend.
But that's what y'all know.
It's a little different. I started thinking about this a little different when BG, because I said it to you, BGS. I was like, well, if they're going to open up the dating market, then how is this not going to work for black women? And you said something that I've been thinking about for the past few weeks, where it's going to look fair on the outside, but in actuality, black women are going to get frozen out. right?
Yeah.
The beauty standard is still going to be the beauty standard. So
Yeah.
it'll look open, but it really won't be by societal
It will be.
standards and
I'm
norms.
gonna tell you right now. In Austin, Texas, a sister who's up to Kevin Samuel's standards, fit, feminine, and friendly, they win. But that's only like 18 to 20% of them, man. Like, that's not the majority of that group. So like we went, like me and my girl, we went to a convention, right? Went downtown, saw two sisters with two Hispanic dudes. And I said, I just kept pushing. I don't give a damn what you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But the one sister was very, very, very. I mean, she's probably about 8'9", real slender, about 6'2", 6'3", right? Just had a model body, very pretty girl. You know, Karma's color skin. What a Hispanic dude. I didn't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, girl, if you can win, win. That's what I tell my daughter. If you keep your weight down, you already done won. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you keep your weight down and smile, I mean, dudes will start approaching you a hell of a lot more than you think they will. Really? You think so? I was like, I'm telling you, dudes ain't that. We ain't that complicated, man.
Right.
Shit.
And if she puts herself around the right places and stuff like that, right? You put yourself around the network of people that align with you, you can also become, you know.
But that's what I told her. I said, look, when we go to these events and stuff together, I said, what you do is you offer to serve the men at the table. And she says, really? Ask them if they need something. Hey, I'm gonna get up and get you this. I says, men gossip more than women do. So damn it, we're gonna be like, yeah, you remember old dude's daughter? Yeah, she real pretty, man. She was over there serving up. I says, dudes talk like that. For ladies, for women, they want to get with. They don't. When Kevin talk about wives get snatched up off this market real quick, they get snatched up off the market real quick. She was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, but you're gonna have to play your part. You just can't. You can't be no loss leader, like Tom Likas used to say. You know what I mean? You can't do that.
By the way, this is what fatherhood looks like. Look at a father talking to his daughter about how to get a man. Like you're probably doing a better job than not even half, 90% of these black mothers out here.
99.
Right, true.
Definitely 99%.
Yeah.
It's like my girlfriend. It's like I said this before, man. See, the reason why fathers are so important, and nowadays you see how important they are because of the lack of mental stability in the black community. Men keep everybody sound in reality. And see, the messed up part about it is that you get these mothers who said, all you got to do is get your education. And then you notice your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother are lonely chicks.
Yeah.
And these females would be like, why can't I get a man? And they're approaching 40. Number one. Charles, check this out. So we went to Top Golf. My girlfriend, my kids, and her kids. Right, we go to Top Golf. So my girlfriend, she wear a dress, and then my daughter wears one of them like cute golfing skirt kind of outfits. Right. So we get sit next to a bunch of sisters. Right. All of them loud. All of them in pantsuit. Maybe 2, 3 of them look really attractive. Right. But they still in that pantsuits or pants and a t-shirt type of thing. How about all the dudes that was with them was checking out my daughter? Now I told my daughter, I said, look, I can't fight them young dudes like that. And I ain't finna fight no goddamn college kids, right? I says, but I said, you still see how you still got to draw the attention. She's like, yeah, even like the girls were checking me out. I said, yeah, because you don't see black women in dresses, man. When you see black women in dresses and some earrings and some pearls and just being girly.
When they trying to keep a man.
When you see them very girly.
When they're after money, that's when they normally do it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But I'm talking about BGS. I'm talking about when you're not after money. You're just out there.
Okay.
But you get what I'm saying, right? I just told her when you just being you. I said, you don't see too many sisters out here with no damn dress on, man.
It's kind of like a lost art. Yeah.
It's a lost art.
And BGS, just in case, just real quick, I sent Lynn the clip that you cut out, and I said, "This is all you." So, and be like, yo, this is all you. This is what black men talk about with black women. Loud, obnoxious, think you the smartest motherfucker in the room. But then when somebody pins your ears to the fucking wall, oh, I'm not, I'll give you that about that. I said, for God's sake, you're getting a fucking PhD in philosophy. At least be well read about your own material. God, geez.
Yeah.
The beyond the
Come to
beauty.
Chicago. Just come to Chicago. Like I was saying before, we got the worst demographic of women. We got 5 generations of women that gang bang, out of way, out of shape. They want to have career degrees and still gang bang, still be part of the streets between the ages of 18 and 55.
Brother,
Oh
I
yeah.
listen. I told, brother, I told my
J-
daughter. I think BGS said this a couple weeks ago, or was it
mhm.
Charles? I told my daughter. I said, "Hey, don't go nowhere by yourself." She said, "What you mean?" I said, "Even in high school, don't go to the
Oh yeah.
bathroom by yourself. You better ask your friend to go." I said, "The girls going around beating up pretty girls. They go to
Yes,
different
they are.
schools to beat up." I
Yeah.
said, "These
Yep.
women are not playing around here these days."
Yeah.
That's the MO here in Chicago. I was
Yep.
just breaking up a fight here in the hotel where I work at, and these women is between the ages of 30 and 40, still gang banging, drinking, doing all that stuff, and fighting young girls because they're getting the most attention at a rooftop bar. You can't make this up.
Yep, I love the rooftop bars because I get attention from all the old and the new. Woo!
The brother
Oh,
from
yeah,
Austin.
yeah. You're such a hoe, Charles.
The brother from Austin. I can't catch your name.
It's
Devon?
Mike. Yeah.
Mike. Just to let you know how close I was to you when I just left Texas. I was dating a woman that lives in Pflugerville right now,
Okay.
and she very attractive girl. I give her an adjustable 6 on Kevin Samuel's standard. Like very attractive girl, but she was 35, never been married, and she had a 17-year-old son. But I couldn't get it. But when I was dating her and we getting to know each other better, and I noticed when we would go out, she was always wearing jeans. And then I started
Yeah.
taking her shopping, and I would buy her a dress, or I buy her some heels, and it was different. But it was like as I started to get her to transition from that, she started to relax and started to become more feminine. You know,
So
it,
BGS made a comment a couple years back that it frustrated me, but because I couldn't see what he was talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying they're not capable to change. Meaning when they brought us here, since we were a bred group of people, we were programmed a certain type of way.
3/5 of human beings.
Their firmware,
That has nothing to do with that.
there's nothing to do with it. Their firmware ain't the same as ours. They may not even be able to be capable of change. That's what I told my son. You want to marry a black woman? Take your ass to fucking Trinidad. You can go to Panama and take your ass back to the continent, or you take you down to South America and get you one of the black women down there. Either one. There's plenty of them. I said, but these ones over here, they're not programmed like a normal
What about the black
female. Yeah, they're not programmed like a normal female. If you BJ said made a good point. He said if the only way you can fix this problem is if you take all the African American men, give them African wives, and give all the African American women African husbands. You'll fix no problem then.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we don't have a culture for it, man.
Yeah.
The breaking point for that relationship was when it was time for me to leave. And I wanted her to come with me, but she would much rather put herself in financial debt and try to purchase herself a house. And I tried to explain to this woman, very simple, that feminism got y'all messed up in the head.
It was long before feminism. Impracticality, and that is part of that is that being a woman, because some of that is being black, but also some of that is actually being a woman. Okay, women actually concentrate on what is a female? What's their first priority?
Herself.
No, her nest.
Oh well.
Yeah,
and every woman, any woman worth her salt, okay, wants a what? Her own house.
Yep. And
her own nest. Her own. Well, they'll do without the car, but things they want their own spot, their own house, okay, because they want to fix up their own nest the way they want to fix it up. That's any woman.
Here's the crazy thing. The crazy thing is she's got an older sister that's 2 years older than her.
Okay.
Her mother.
Okay. This is relationship time. Go ahead, man. Tell us the story, man, because you want this. Basically, this is the way she's programmed. It does. Somebody's got feedback.
But her sister
2 years older than her. Tell us the story, man.
Okay, who's got the feedback?
Yeah, somebody's got feedback.
AL's got the feedback.
Somebody's got feedback. But her sister. Okay.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Feedback.
Yeah, so her thing
Hey,
was.
he muted. Yeah, he muted.
The thing is, her sister, who was 2 years older than her, had been married for 15 years.
Okay.
Got kids in the family. What I'm saying is, how could the programming be the same for somebody? I mean, different for the two sisters.
It's the same. Okay. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I got a sister.
You got a sister. Okay. You guys came out of the same household. Are you guys the same? Do you guys do the same thing?
We didn't quite come out. Well, yeah, we did after my mom passed away. Yeah, we was in
And
it, but I didn't move in with her till I was
do,
8.
do you have children?
Yes.
How many?
I got two different baby moms.
What's the difference? You all over the. Well, you're not much better than her. But the thing is that the thing is, if you had 2 different kids, even coming from the same family, same household, guess what? They have different what? Personalities. Okay, that's going to vary, even though the programming can be the same. The different personalities. Go ahead.
You can look at Nicole Ali. Look at if you Nicole Ali talks about her sister. They both brought from the same home. That woman, Nicole Ali, is like the epitome. I hope my daughter gets to reach her level of how feminine she is, and how beautiful that woman is, and how much of an amazing housewife and a mother she's gonna be. Right? But once you talk about a sister, ratchet. Both came from 2-parent home, good income, that mom and daddy work, good example show. It's just what you accept, man.
It's just the personality will change. So it's going to vary according to personality. But as far as their programming, as far as wanting the house, no matter what, once you probably have something to prove. Okay. Because you have to if you really want to understand, to get really deep into her psyche. Okay, what her hopes and dreams, how she was trained, all that kind of stuff, what she rebelled against as far as her personality would allow, and then you will actually figure out why she did it. But I've seen women kill themselves over trying to get a house. Okay, and with you leaving, okay, that put her further away. So it doesn't matter. Any woman worth her salt will try to get a house or find a man with a house to actually move into, to actually make her nest. So what you're saying is not unusual.
Yeah, because I was wondering, and it was like ever since. I mean, like when I moved, the distance started coming, and then it was like I didn't like this
what does that
about
mean?
you.
What does that mean?
Like over the phones, like you act like you don't want to be on the phone with me anymore. And you do. Yeah,
she's trying to woo you back. Okay. She's trying to form a connection with you so that you will actually move back to her nest and be with her and fulfill your role.
But that wasn't going to happen. I'm in the military.
I'm not used. When are women ever logical? You're trying to use man's logic for a woman.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. So anyway. Yeah,
that's why they ask. That's why majority of them ask backwards over here, even in Austin, right?
Yeah,
that's why you got most of the guys here who will claim to be conservative. Most of the women will say they're liberal.
Yeah.
And now the women are taking all that liberal and feminist off they post because they can't get it back.
Why you think it's so hard for men and women to actually communicate? You're speaking the same words and getting different meanings out of it because she's 80% emotion, you're 80% logic. Okay, so you guys talking to each other about the same thing is not going to come out the same way. That's like we have to find common ground, and especially for the man, because believe it or not, no matter what a woman tells you, the man carries the majority of the emotional labor in a relationship because you got to listen to her, understand her, figure out, because she can't figure herself out. Most women don't know why the fuck they do what they do. I can tell you that. I got a woman that had 2 of my children.
That's a fact, BGS.
A whole bunch of girlfriends and stuff like that. I have had 7, at least 7 long, serious relationships in my lifetime. Right. I can tell you, very few women actually know what the fuck they do and why. Very few.
And my girlfriend and I were just talking today. So she had made the comment, took off what BJ just said, not knowing what the fuck they want, how to do it, right? Is that she says anytime a woman says I'm single by choice, she says honestly what she's really telling y'all. She's like, I'm gonna give you a little bit of game. She's like, she doesn't know how to get that man. She's incapable of like even trying to get that man. She gets the logic, but she doesn't know how to transfer that into female magic, right? To attract him, woo him, seduce him, pull him in, keep him, maintain him, and all that shit. They can't do it. They're not capable. I'm telling y'all, for a young girl to be able to understand how to be a housewife for feminine starts at a young age, and most of our sisters ain't getting it. Period.
Like literally the age of 5.
So does that mean the solution for us black men that are in that age range to where even Kevin Samuel said we should seriously be considering family around the age of 35? The only options we have is SYSBM, date younger, or come through a needle? I mean, through a haystack?
Yeah, because I'm about to be 35 by November, and I'm
Yes.
looking like
you have to. Okay, number one. Okay, at 35, the reason he says that because finally you're stable. You know who you are and what your mission is, right? And you got to find a woman appropriate for your mission. And sometimes it's a black woman, sometimes it's not. It depends on who you are, what your mission is, and what your tolerance level is. You know, in other words, you get a black woman, you know what she comes with. Stop trying to make her into something that she's not. So if you're gonna get a black woman, no, okay, this is what comes with the black culture and black women like 90% of the time. Okay, if she's educated, you know what's gonna come with. Does that black woman fit your mission? If she doesn't, you pick another woman.
The way I break it down to my son, and that's why I'm happy BGS gave that book called The Alchemist. This is why I tell men to focus on your purpose. Once you get one, it's easy. Men need to feel needed, so go feel needed somewhere else in the world. You can find a place, right?
Yeah.
In The Alchemist, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's a woman in there.
Yeah.
But there's a young girl in there,
yeah.
and I'll let y'all read how she makes a sacrifice for his purpose, and I'll let you read how she does that. Right? If your woman ain't doing that for you, then you leave her. All you do have to do. That's what marriage is about. That's why marriage has never been about love. It's never been about love. It's all been about purpose. I need to get these grow my cattle and grow this ranch, and I got to go across this man's lake or farm to get to the water. I need to.
Hold on, Charles. Hold on.
I need to get across this river and grow so my cattle can drink. Right? Fuck it. I'll have to marry one of his daughters. It is what it is, man. It's about your purpose. If you can focus on your purpose and then eventually have some need and some respect, because she's supposed to make a sacrifice in this whole process too, not just you.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? And then like you said, after you said 35 should be a good age.
It shouldn't be a sacrifice. Her purpose should be your purpose.
No, you said that in your video too. But that's the sacrifice I'm making, which is she's denying herself for you.
Yeah, BGS, you had made in your video with that point too, when you said either she gonna give it her body or her money. So when I watched that video, so I had to look at that and really process. I say, you know what? I know a lot of women that'll give a dude her body, but I very rarely see a lot of women give her money away for any kind of dude.
It depends on the chick. Depends on the dude.
Yeah, depends on the chick.
And there's a whole bunch of chicks that give. Trust and believe. I know there's a whole bunch of chicks that give their dudes money. Okay, they take care of them. They drive the car.
What's that model? BGS that went to jail, became famous.
Got
married to that billionaire heiress.
yeah. I mean,
she bought him.
But I actually got to go back. I actually go back and find a quote because it wasn't a man that said it. It was actually a woman that said it, and her stepfather told her. When she was a teenager, she said, "There's only two ways to pay a man: what's between your legs or what's between your wallet." She said, "Pick which one and be consistent." So whatever you're gonna pay, yeah. Go ahead.
I'll say this, BGS. Like I noticed, like a lot of guys are apprehensive about being 35 and getting married or in serious relationships. I'm like, number one, that's because a lot of men think in terms of women.
No. It's more than that. It's more than that. I'll tell you what it is, because I had my last child at 35. Okay, at some point you want to retire. If you're having kids at 40, guess what you're going to be raising in your 60s? Children. So you got.
I'm trying to talk my girl out of it now, BJS. She wants some more.
Well, you know what, Mike? You out of goddamn luck, man.
No. It's not just that.
I told her
she wants to have yours.
No, that's it. That's what she wants to have mine.
Yeah. A lot of guys get apprehensive, like, dude, a lot of these women out there are gonna be right now. It's a buyer's market. It's a buyer's market, and it's funny because it's like BGS said years ago. What happens when they come back to the table? A lot of dudes in the space don't have an answer for it.
Yeah.
They don't, man. They don't.
They still don't. Yeah.
So let me ask you, so should the priority of marriage, I mean, besides your purpose, if you are a man that is looking to not raise a family and because it's like generational wealth is going to go to the kids that came from outside families. Should marriage even be a consideration?
If you're not going to raise a family, why are you getting married?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because
As a
me
question for you,
personally,
it could be for companionship. It could be for a whole bunch of things. In other
yeah,
words, if you're not raising a family, you really don't need a wife. So if you're gonna get married, you're getting married for other reasons other than a family, other than needing a wife. You don't need a wife.
right, right. Because that was my stance, and that's the stance that I want to stay on. Is that unless I'm planning on having more kids, I don't think I'm getting married.
Well,
Yeah.
if you oh yeah, more kids.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
the second one was a trap. I mean, so I
the
played a
first one,
role in
the
that.
first one was probably a trap too. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
No, the first one wasn't a trap.
Think
I
you
was
got
actually
enough?
married
Give
when I
me
had
some
my
more.
daughter.
Oh yeah, oh you're married. Okay.
Yeah, I was married. So, but the second one, I tried to get her away from it. Now it's like she wants me to fight to have a relationship with my daughter that
Yeah. Well,
I really didn't ask for her to be here.
well, the thing is that that's the whole reason she had the child in the first place, to solidify a relationship with her.
Yeah, but she was
Mm-hmm.
just a jump off.
It
Yeah,
doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't
yeah, go
matter
ahead.
even if she it doesn't matter even if
You
she's
said
crying
nigga
and
jump
screaming.
back.
Hold on a second. It doesn't matter even if she's crying and screaming. She don't want you. She's lying.
Yes.
No. She didn't say she didn't
Me.
want me. She was saying that she wanted me and she thought that she was going to have me a son. But
Mm-hmm.
she thought if she would have me a son, I would be trying to be in a relationship with her. But
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't the case.
She's
And
trying
I
to
wouldn't.
she's trying to jump the jump levels. In other words,
Jump levels. Yeah.
she's trying to qualify for something that she didn't qualify on her own. So she figures she
Right.
has a kid that qualifies her for being a wife.
Yeah. That's why when most women like let's say you go out in public, right? Most women won't say this because they live in the shadow world. They know when to do the baby trip because they'll look at you and be like, "How the fuck she pull him? Ain't no way." Oh, then they see the little kid coming and be like, "Oh, that's how she did." And so that's why they get a reputation. That's why they'll scream and holler, "I didn't baby trap you. I didn't baby trap."
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Most children in the black community are baby traps.
Baby traps.
Sex babies.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, man.
Yeah. Anybody else jump in, because we're gonna go maybe another hour because Art is in. I'm actually in on Art's time. This isn't a normal night. I just happened to want to boot one up. So jump in. Don't hesitate. Jump in.
Oh. You gotta get the ShatterPoint song. Shibby-doo. Run. Say hi, Peanut.
Hey, what's up, Peanut? What's going on?
Hi, nothing.
Hey, remember Peanut was what, 8 or 9 years old when you first came through? Yeah.
He'll be 14 next month.
Wow. That blows my mind.
I got questions.
Yeah, look at this. Listen to the voice difference. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that. I know Peanut's still getting his ass in trouble though, isn't he?
No, he's been pretty cool.
Been pretty cool. Okay.
Pretty
It was
cool.
always something with Peanut. Peanut was always doing something, man.
Yeah. He just didn't take too much shit off of people in school trying to fight him.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
And you know every man, but yes, you know every man has his limit. Mine was 16. I got tired of getting whooped. I was like, fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah, normally you do.
I was
16.
I line out right about now. I'm tired of getting in trouble all the goddamn time. So he just hit it early. He got off his draws.
My number was 9. My number was 9.
And at 17, I got in more trouble. And I was like, man, forget this crap. I'm about to go ahead and get kicked out of the crib.
Oh, yeah.
No, I got it. It's funny. I was cool in high school. I got in more fights than basic training. I was like, damn.
Oh, they want to try
BGS,
the big guy.
when did you leave home?
I was
BGS,
the
when
big
did you
guy
first
trying
leave
to.
home?
I was the big guys trying.
When did you first officially leave home?
Somebody got echo. You might echo.
Somebody got echo.
Well, to answer your question, BGS,
When did you first leave home,
big guys that
BGS?
wanted to try me.
About 19, 20, something like that.
It was the big guys trying to
I was
try me,
15.
BGS. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's not unusual, man. But that's early. That's not unusual.
Charles, I'm trying to get my girlfriend's son. Well, we ain't trying. We gonna do it. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's 6 foot, husky kid. And I told him flat out, I said, hey man, you know if we get jumped as a group, they fight you first, right? He said, what? I said, nah, I'm gonna react first, but they're gonna jump you first because you look like you 18.
Mm.
And I said, ain't nothing worse than a tall kid that can't fight. And that's a mama's boy. I said, when they find out that you're a mama's boy, you can't fight.
Oh yeah, they're gonna
That's
have
a hell
to
of a
go to
life to
town.
live. That's
I'm gonna tell you,
like Charles said, they're gonna
boxing,
be picking fights with you.
basic boxing, basic wrestling, basic ground fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I told people, I said, if somehow in some miracle of a day you take me off my feet, where I've been known even in wrestling for people who couldn't take me off my feet, like I'm gonna put it somehow, some way, I'm gonna lock onto something, whether if it's your skin, your arm, your leg, your neck,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna pull something till it breaks, tears, or rips.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because even in the academy, it was funny. Like the instructors, they liked running, rolling around with me, but then they didn't like it. They were like, Jesus Christ, like that arm bar.
Well, you're an Olympic level wrestler, so that's not even fair.
We don't fight fair, nigga.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, it's one thing if you
Hey,
just
BJ.
take a regular. That's worse than getting in the ring with somebody that's MMA. Okay.
BGS, look here. I had a buddy of mine. He's a ranger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sitting at the house. We went back to his mom. He came home. So I went at his mom and dad's house. She was like, "Hey, so if you and all such and such got into a fight, who would win?" And I was like, "Oh, I'd win that." She said, "For real?" And this is the same philosophy I have for Charles. If I ever have to do it, if I have to get in a fight with Charles. She said, "You would win?" I said, "Absolutely." She said, "How would you win?" I said, "I'd shoot him dead between his eyes."
Damn.
I said, "Because I'm not getting no ring with his ass." You forget that shit. You know what I mean?
That was so funny when Kevin Samuel said the same shit.
Yeah, man, I'm not getting in the ring with you, man. I'm just pulling the trigger.
It was so funny because it was like some of my wrestlers was like asking my nephew Ramsey, "Did you take coach?" He was like, "I'm faster with the boxing, but he hits like a freight train."
Mm.
He said all it takes is one knee, one punch. And he's like, if I'm not out, I'm gonna wish I was, because then he's gonna take me to the ground and maul me.
Yeah.
He said it's good. He said stick and move, stick and move.
Yeah.
And I'm not
stick and move. You behind that jab, man.
Yeah, but that's the point when you talk about Michael J. White was talking about. He said he could beat Bruce Lee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody got into a big uproar. And he was like, if Bruce Lee was here, he'd tell you I could beat him too. And he's like, it's physics, man. Man,
like
what,
number one, when people look at Bruce Lee, okay, he was at 5'7" at best,
right?
5'8", 5'7", 5'8", 160 pounds at his heaviest. You're looking at Michael J. White, who's anywhere from his heaviest 235 to 240.
Yes, 230.
Solid muscle. And you telling me that he's about what, 6'1"?
Mm-hmm.
And you telling me that dude hits you. Like, a lot of people don't understand. It's very hard to go up in weight because you're given a lot of size, a lot of strength, and a lot of power. And yes, there's a difference between power and strength. Mm-hmm. So when you actually look at it, I don't care how bad you think you are, there's a reason why they have weight classes, okay?
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason why when, like, God damn, like, you just, like, I want people to just go and wrestle around with a fucking 130-pound college level or Olympic level wrestler, and he's giving you fits. And you could be 170 pounds, but that guy will give you fits because he's trained and he's strong. Now I want your ass to go up to the 286 heavyweight, 275 heavyweight.
Yep.
Now you're gonna see if you were struggling to dominate the fucking 135-pound college wrestler, imagine what the fucking number one in the nation will make you feel like. Like,
oh yeah, bro.
You gonna be tapping out, calling uncle.
Like,
brother, we was watching
like
that. We was watching that. What's the one with Harley Quinn, the Prey, whatever it was. And so they had to, at the end of the movie, they got to fight a whole bunch of Birds of Prey. They got to fight a bunch of dudes, and I'm laughing through the whole thing. My girlfriend's just looking at me like, "Shut up!" I said, "Sweetheart, it's physics. You couldn't even pick me up, and by the time you pick me up, I says it's physics, man. I says even no, we was in the gym lifting weights. So I told my son, I said, "Hey, I said, you want to know the reason why I stopped watching anime as much? He said, why? I said, you see that dude over there? Charles, he's about your size, white dude. I said, you gonna need superpowers to whoop his ass. I said, and when he get past your superpowers and punch you dead in your chest, that whole Naruto fighting a grown man, that shit go right out the window, bud. Now you in reality. Now you in reality. How you gonna beat that man? He's like, he was looking at that dude. That dude was massive, man. He was like, I don't know. I was like, you can't beat him.
I got a question. So I seen in the comments about the Alchemist book, and there was one called The Magician. Is it available on audiobook?
The Alchemist should be available on audiobook. You might be able to find it for free someplace on YouTube, because it's like he wrote this back in the 70s, maybe. So it's an old
it's
old book.
It's
You should be able to find it on
I have it on
YouTube.
audiobook. Yeah, I have it on audiobook. Actually the audiobook's actually pretty good too. The voice character change and stuff like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And the Magician. What's The Magician about?
The Magician. I've never read The Magician. I read the Alchemist.
Yeah, I never read that one. I just read The Alchemist. But you start there first. It's a good framework for most dudes, man, most young men.
Yeah.
Once you start there, then you can start on the 48 Laws of Power. You can start on Prince. I think it's the Prince.
Yeah, I already read them two. That's crazy. I already read them two, but I never read The Magician or The Alchemist. That's what I was asking. I really just got to the esoteric thing.
I would start with The Alchemist, and then I would right after that, after Alchemist, I would go Don Miguel, The Four Agreements.
The Four Agreements. I got you.
Yeah.
So BGS, when you say esoteric, that's the spiritual, right?
Esoteric means it's hidden. In other words, esoteric means it's a higher level. So esoteric could mean anything. Say like if there's a difference between somebody that listens to music on a boom box versus a guy that an esoteric audiophile that listens to a recording, pristine recording on like a $50,000 worth of audio equipment. Okay, one is basic and one's esoteric. Same music, but a higher level.
Like when they changed the frequency on music to like 432 and stuff like that.
Okay, what they actually did, the 44 kilohertz basically is the sampling rate. In other words, it's not a continuous wave because it's digital, which makes it cleaner because you get all the noise out. But the thing is that there's holes. It's subtle, but the thing is there's holes in the music. There's interruptions. It's not a continuous wave like on a tape or on a physical album recording, right? Okay, that's continuous. Okay. Which is not as good as hearing it live, because it's actually a degradation from one to the next. And basically, the reason people like digital because it's clean. You don't get the scratches and pops and stuff like that. But the thing is, also you don't get the pure wave that you would get from a direct recording, from tape or from a live recording.
Like when it's like put together, like you can hear all the pieces more better.
No, okay, It's the same thing as if have you ever seen film itself, right? Say a movie and actually see the film itself. Okay, the film itself has still pictures that are moving at a certain rate, and your mind actually blends all that stuff together. You do the same thing with digital music. You can't hear the holes, right? You can't hear the holes because your mind will actually it can't really detect the gaps, or at least consciously detect the gaps, even though they're there.
Kind of like how vinyl is.
So basically,
vinyl is a direct recording. It's continuous.
It's better because, like, esoteric allows your mind to basically do the process that digital does not.
No. Esoteric means just a higher level of knowledge. That's all it means. I just use that as an example. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I would say like somebody wrestling in the backyard is basic, right? But it's Olympic wrestler like Charles, that's esoteric because it's at a much higher level. Charles can actually break down wrestling grips, why you do it, how you do it, pressure points, all that kind of stuff better than the average rookie, which is a novice, right?
Yeah, so that's the esoteric piece. The esoteric piece is the art. That's why it's called martial art. That's why it takes you for the rest of your life to figure it out, because you always improve, right? I can do all the techniques on Charles, but Charles can use chi and an energy force to push me back. Just a look can get. right? Because he knows how to hone all that stuff. That's the art of it.
In other words, somebody like Charles, when he wrestles, he doesn't wrestle, he flows. Okay, it's a flow to him. Okay, he can almost anticipate what your next move is because he's been doing it for so long. He's been working at it for so long. So he knows by you shifting your weight where your next move is because he's at that level.
Those are the type of guys who are actually you're fighting. You're doing every move that he wants you to do, and you can't. You know that's what he's doing, and you can't stop yourself from
Black Edge
stopping him,
Lobo. Your camera's on.
So, but hey, BJ, appreciate you having me, Bob. I gotta go. Put this little boy to bed.
Ain't no little boy, man. How old is he, man?
He's like 4 now.
Oh,
my little buddy getting big on me. So.
Okay. It's not your baby, your child.
Oh yeah, he mine. I've been with him about 3, going on 4 years. So he mine.
Okay. See,
you know how we are. We love on you enough. He's ours.
Yeah. But if you're gonna be a stepdaddy, that's the reason you're a stepdaddy because you love the kid.
Oh, no doubt.
Fair enough.
But now but this is my patient. I've been with him for
okay.
a good minute.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You at work. Okay.
Yeah. So I've been with him for a while, man. So I had to. He's a good little boy.
All right.
So, little man's man in a little body.
Old soul, huh?
That old soul in a man's body. That's what he is. So, all right, fellas. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, I get what you mean. Like BGS, you mean like a flow, as in like how like someone like I could like a random person could just practice dance moves for like a few months or maybe a few years versus somebody that's just been dancing and they just see the moves and they're just able to just flow.
Oh, if you play ball, there's a point where you we call it being in the zone.
Yep.
Well, that's the flow. Okay. The expert can stay in the zone longer than we can.
And it's like he's playing chess with you with his mind. Period. Point blank. But Charles, you in a combat with Charles, he's playing chess with you.
Yeah.
Oh, like I get what you like. I get it. It's like takeover, like
basically
an esoteric master.
Basically, we're in the neutrals. So we shake hands right there. I'm looking at your hips. I'm looking at your feet, seeing where your feet going. You're sliding to the left. Okay, you want to tie up. I'm going to tie up. I'm going to drag. I'm going to go into the collar elbow tie up. I'm going to pull down on your elbow to see which way you're going to react. Okay, you lift up. You're going to pull away from me. Okay, you're going to grab my wrist. Okay, I'm going to pull my wrist a little bit. Now I'm going to see if you really want my wrist. Now, when you pull it another time, I'm going to arm drag you. I'm going to go right into the single leg from the arm drag. Then once we get down, I'm going to take that arm that I dragged and put it in an arm bar. Now I'm going to cross face you. Then I'm going to walk you down. And then I'm going to walk it back with all the pressure I'm putting on your arm, your shoulder, and the cross face.
Charles, he should have been tapping out nine talks ago. You done already had him.
So you'd be surprised. So you'd be surprised. Then that's if I just want back points and not pin you. So we go back to there. We go for the half Nelson. Got wrist control. I'm putting my chest, which is my body weight. Notice how I've been saying this, and this is how it actually flows in your brain. Like, okay. Like let's say if I don't get you with the arm drag, I still got a double leg. I still got a throw. I still got a bear hug. Still got a hip toss. Then we could enter. Then we could go from there.
And this man is 265 plus. Why would you want to do this with a person like that? Hell no.
Well, very hard to predict.
Yeah.
You have to get lucky.
But he's going through it doesn't matter about his size or his weight. He's taking you through the process of what he's learned and that's just the beginning process of what he does, what he recognizes, right? And sometimes he just does it because he feels it. He don't even recognize. He's not even looking for it. He just feels it.
I think that was my experience in martial arts. That it takes over you. You don't even think about it. You just it happens. You react. It's natural. There's no thought involved in it.
Yes,
on the highest level. It's just that
the best experience is driving a car. Okay, when you first learn to drive a car, you're thinking about the brake, you're thinking about the gas, you're thinking about the steering, and just the mechanics of the car, right? Then you advance to, once you get that down, you're looking for traffic, making sure you're staying in your lane, making sure that you know how to make the turn, blah blah blah. After about 3 or 4 years, guess what? half the time you zone out. You're thinking about something like what you ate because the unconscious actually is taken over. It's become a automatic process, and that's
muscle
what
memory.
It becomes incorporated into your existence.
In other words, it should be like BGS said. The best way to put it is a flow. When you see two really good guys who wrestle, notice it's very low scoring. Notice it's very low movement. It's a flow, meaning I'm going to take whatever you give and whatever I take.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to get somebody who's hard to take down, guess what? I'm going to wear him down with a front headlock, or I'm going to tie him up till I get something. I'm going to move. I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep looking at those feet to see if he's moving. Up, he crossed his feet. There you go. Boom. Like sometimes you should be. This is what we used to do. My coach used to have us wrestle blindfolded.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be able to feel where, or at least estimate where his body parts are without even looking.
Yeah, that was my experience in wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Is that people would look at me and my eyes would be completely unfocused, so they could tell that I wasn't looking at them, even though my eyes were open, and it was completely disconcerting to them because they would.
You weren't in the moment.
That alone would freak them out.
Yeah,
you weren't the fact that I could tell where they were when I wasn't even looking. I often closed my eyes, but even when my eyes were open, I wasn't even looking at them.
You were there, but you weren't. You were in your mind.
That's a form of esotericism. It's a higher level.
Yeah. If you look into a guy's eyes in wrestling, you're wrong. You should never look in his eyes. His eyes and his hands will fake you out. His feet and his hips can't.
I would piggyback and say this as well as BGS said, like in driving, right? No different from like the elite racers in the formula, like the F1 guys, right? They're moving at such a high rate of speed. They see things so slowly, even at 200 plus miles an hour, that when you look at some of the footage, when they're hitting off like, corners, banks, they're like maybe an inch off from the guardrail. And they just hit that same spot over and over, just trying to get the fastest time, lap time. And you know what I mean? And that's that whole concept of just being in that flow.
James S., let me give you something about that. It's obviously real life racing, but even video game racing, you're talking about the apex. You're trying to find the perfect line, and it becomes second nature. You're not even thinking about it. You're zoned out, like what BGS was saying. And when Anton Senna got into his crash that ended up killing him back in the early 90s, I think it was like 94 or something like that, they showed his reaction time when he realized the car was slipping. He reacted almost as fast as the fastest computers at the time, right? It was 0.2 seconds before he already started to correct the steering wheel, but the road was slick and it was already too late, right? But even with that, it was like he reacted just as fast, pretty much, as the fastest chips would have reacted back then. Right? Because you're talking about a kid. Well, he started racing go-karts when he was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old. I think it was before 7 years old, right? Yeah. So you imagine by that time you're in your mid-20s, late 20s. So you have 2 decades of racing under your belt.
Yeah.
Right? And you're not racing Honda Accords, right? Or even Lamborghinis. You're racing, these are pretty much, it's like driving a fucking T-Rex. That's what those Formula One cars are. Everybody drives golden retrievers at most, right? But these motherfuckers is driving T-Rexes and taming them.
And see, I can tell you I've been to actually several Formula One races overseas, and I used to race motorcycles, and that level, those guys, like you said, when they groomed as kids, I mean, Lewis Hamilton's a perfect example. He probably will be.
He's a fucking monster.
Yeah, I've seen him in person, and to see those guys, defy the law of physics. Not even the vehicle, just mentally, because you're saying to yourself, where at any given moment, if they, just flinch or bend that wheel, like by 2 or 3 or 4 degrees, their life can be, it's over. Because you can't do almost, you talking about V6 twin turbo engines doing 1,000 horsepowers on a 3.2 mile track, depending on, the environments, slicks, wets, and then just be like, all right, the next guy is not going to be hounding me. and not expect to have not a mental breakdown. It's insanity. To me, I call it insanity, right? But it's not. That's just like they're like those guys like Albert Einstein, right? To them, it's not even an equation. It's just like, oh, it's 2 + 2 is 4 on that level.
James S., let me add to that too. We're talking about Formula One. Even Le Mans to me is another monster, right? Because you're literally doing a 24-hour race, literally behind the wheel, going 200 and some odd miles an hour, right? In France, in back roads, right? And it's all about, okay, where am I going to pit? When am I going to pit? Because if I pit now, then who's ever in second place is going to pass me. So I got to pit. I got to hold my tires out, which means I can't gas it too much in the corners. I got to keep my rubber on my tires. Like it's all of that. It's literally martial arts of car racing. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
It's been a pleasure, BGS. I'm gonna try to shoot over the art stream and give him some support.
All I gotta do is say BGS. When you got the glow, your power move. You got the glow.
So did you take Lynn out, man, and give her a drink, man, after we beat up on her?
Nah, Lynn probably doesn't like me anymore. She didn't answer my calls after today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think she's a little. You're so negative about black women. Oh well.
So, I got a question for you before you
go ahead.
I saw your last post on the whole OnlyFans. How bad do you think this economy will get in regards to women finding employment? Because I seen something on Yahoo Finance. They said about like 1.4 million women have lost jobs in hospitality and touring. I was like, wow. Right.
Yeah, because hospitality and touring is dependent on people traveling, right? If people were restricted in traveling because of COVID, they're gonna lose their jobs. The thing is that I think those jobs in particular will come back, but at what level? So it's really more like women that are actually in have office jobs that are the office and service jobs like Home Depot, whatever kind of store that you're talking about. They're going to eventually start whittling those down. Those are the ones that are actually going away. Okay. Some things was the thing is that one thing that COVID did was allow a mass test of all these systems, right? Because you had to have them. Nobody's working. Gonna have to replace these people with something. So let's put it in as much automation as we can. So basically, Katie Barr that we're gonna try everything, right? So now after a year and a half, they know it works. And so we're gonna have to wait and see which segments come back and which don't. They found out that you can't replace teachers. Okay. They tried it. They tried to have these kids learn online and whatnot. That shit didn't work. Okay. So basically, the teachers are good because they found out, okay, at least right now, you can't replace teachers in the schoolroom because the kids did miserably, even though they had a certain kind of classroom. We still need teachers. They're good. Okay. Certain other segments, okay, they'll be good because like travel and hospitality, because as long as people like to travel, you can't replace stewardesses and ticket takers and stuff like that on airlines with machines, at least not just yet. Hospitality, like hotel workers, can't replace them just yet. Okay, that's going to take a little bit longer. So it's going to depend on where it lands and how much advantage they can actually take of it. But it's going to get there. It's going to be uneven about how it's going to get there. Even though women have less physical jobs or less real world jobs, they're going to get hit first. So
I could tell you because I was in New York this weekend. And, they, instead of having multiple concierge, they just have everyone. They have like a bunch of little small tablets. Into the hotel, boom, 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 check out.
Yeah.
So I'd be key, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. They're gonna have that. They're gonna have the thing is who cleans the rooms. There's certain things that people aren't comfortable with using machines. You're gonna have to have people. Now, how many people are gonna get replaced? We don't know. Restaurants. Go ahead.
BGS people still want to be able to complain about other human beings for right now.
For right now, the thing is it's just certain things will be able to replace, certain things won't. But it's going to be uneven. But the thing is, it's going to take a nice little chunk. One thing that happened, I do believe, is like, especially amongst black people, is businesses got wiped out because they're not coming back. People will have to start over with new businesses. The old ones are it was too long. They were laid off too long. They can't start them back up. So, that will actually leave opportunities for other people to actually start other things. So it's going to be uneven. So say exactly how long it's going to take, what it's going to take, we don't know. The thing is, it's going to take a major. It's already taken a major hit. Okay, it's already going to already taken a major hit.
Even people that use software, people that sit behind cubes. I mean, like this thing is coming. Like, you know, thank God I'm in this space. Thank God I've been listening to you for some years, because people, you know, I had my own thoughts, and all you did was like solidify them with more research. And because I remember having this conversation when I worked at the law office. I'm like, y'all think this shit can be automated? Y'all think we save just because we sit behind cubes?
Yeah.
Little do you know. But once again, I'm still in contact with some of the people I used to work with at the law office, and they and one of the dudes, and it's funny, some of the people that still work at the office are the lower ranking people, right? The mail room and stuff like that, the file room. But all the junior paralegals and whatnot, a lot of them just went home. They didn't have too much work, and that's scary.
The AIs took over most of that stuff because it's repetitive.
Especially if you're making $50,000, $45,000 a year, you're kind of comfortable, right? And you and your wife work at the law office, you and your girlfriend. So when she loses her job, you lose your job. Shit. Yep.
That's tough.
So I don't know if you guys heard the press conference that our president had when he was doing all that whispering, but he was talking about primarily about the food service industries and how people weren't going back to those jobs, and he was saying if you want people to come back to work, raise the wages. Do you think we're going to come to a point where the fast food restaurants are actually going to start?
They will raise the wages, but they also do other things like Uber Eats. They also do things like app, like McDonald's. They encourage you to actually use the app because they actually give you a better break on your food. The price of your food, if you use it, go through the app. So that will actually replace at least one person. So
because I know there's restaurants in my area where, like, me and my date last weekend, we got turned around not because they were at capacity, but they didn't even have enough staff to keep up with everybody inside the building.
They're gonna have to raise the wage. Okay, the thing is, you can't bring them back at the old wage. Okay, at least not now.
Well, what he just said. Go ahead, brother.
No. Will there ever be a point where inflation is going to take a hit? Will there ever be a point where they won't continue to increase the prices of housing, automobiles, things of that nature? Because minimum wage, inflation has already outpaced minimum wage a long time ago.
At some point, basically, they're making you pay for the crash of 2007, 2008, right? By slowly but surely increasing, by not building houses, keeping the price of rent and housing up, and keeping your wages down. So basically, you're paying for it because those homes and those apartments actually sit on the bank's balance sheets.
See, I thought the reason why all these apartments, because they're still building, especially up here in the DMV, they're still building, but it's like they're building more townhouses and apartments. And I thought the reason for that was because capitalism.
Well, it is capital. It is capitalism, but the thing is, it's capitalism by attracting people from that don't belong in the area into the area. So it's a brain drain from other areas like the Midwest and other places. It's becoming a brain drain to these big cities.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's going to be, to me, that's the second part of this wave that I think has a 3 or 4 part system. What you see going on in Japan, what you see going on in some of these countries is that the country area is being, like BGS said, brain drained, right? This is what you see in third world countries too, developing countries. What I think is going to happen after this is there's going to be brain drains of countries. So it's going from the countryside to the city, and then it's going to go from different countries to other countries.
What do you think the H-1B visas are about?
And there you go.
Yeah.
So is this great quote unquote reset just a myth, or is this something that's
okay, we're mixing a whole bunch of things together, right? Okay. The great reset means is just that, okay? Depending on who you ask, right? And how they define it. Okay. They never paid off all the derivatives from 10, 12 years ago, right?
07, 08.
And, yeah, and those derivatives are still sitting on the books. So basically, we talk about $200-300 trillion worth of counterparty debt. Okay, that has to be settled. Okay, the only way to settle is to reset the economy to zero, which is where the UBI comes in. And then you had to figure out what kind of jobs are going to be left, what kind of other industry that's going to be left, because you're going to have to use automation to cushion that. But the thing is, you use that, you're going to take away 70-80% of the jobs. What do you do? That's the Great Reset.
BS, can I piggyback on what you were saying? So I just listened to the Boston Fed chairman. He was on CNBC, and he said something that really caught my attention. He mentioned something about financial stability, right? His concept, and I remember writing an op-ed on the Financial Times. He was saying that what he's concerned is that when you start seeing rural areas of real estate get expensive, that's when people should be really scared. Because now, if you, again, when we've never seen real estate, even in, again, like rural parts of the country, start to really outpace livable wages. So now it's like, you go back to that whole UBI concept. There's a reason why a lot of people just technically they can't afford to take a job because it costs so much for gas, it costs so much for rent, it costs so much for food. They're just boxed in.
They're boxed in by the system. They can solve the system real easily. They can all the people that don't have homes, they can build homes for like $10,000 a piece if they really wanted to. They don't want to because that's going to affect the banks if they did that shit.
Yeah.
So capitalism is actually boxing you in because they're making you eat the debt.
Yep. That's funny.
Well, Klaus Schwab, the Schwab guy, said something along like we got to prepare for an angrier world, right? So think about that when you think, and this is like somebody very influential, globally influential, not just in the U.S. And when he says you got to prepare, he was being interviewed. Y'all could look that up, and he said y'all got to prepare for an angrier world because they already know where this is going. They know. They're just pretending. And I think you said something like that before, BJ.
Yeah, they know where it's going. And the thing is they're between a rock and a hard place. Do you let the banks go, or do you slowly erode the confidence of the people? So they've already decided that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, BJS. Because I had I was having a debate with someone, and I kept telling them that if you are trying to shoot for this minimum wage, like, because, I'm in Mass and, all we hear about, we need to raise the minimum wage. I'm like, the inflation at this point is pretty much eating that up. Like, you don't want to be in that minimum wage bracket. Because
what's your choice?
I see what you're saying.
How many people can you raise past the minimum wage?
I see what you're saying.
And people think everybody's going to be a programmer and make $100,000 a year. How many people can the economy afford to pay how many people $100,000 a year?
Yeah, I see.
The system is a pyramid scheme on purpose, y'all.
Yeah, of course it is.
Because my thing was telling this person, I was like, well, as an individual, man, you got to find a way to get out that box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because as you mentioned, the scheme is really, it's like I said to him, it's what I keep seeing is consolidation, crash, consolidate, crash, consolidate. And that to me is far more scary because that means now we got a real Hunger Game starting to really show its face.
Every time you create a millionaire or a billionaire, where does the wealth come from?
Yeah.
Where were you? Go ahead.
Got to come from somebody.
Yep.
BGS, where were you when I was on Roger's show? Like, this was like maybe a month ago, and I said every time you see a billionaire, just see that as a obelisk of wealth that just sucked up a bunch of $50,000-$60,000 a year jobs. That's what that one person is.
I do have to sleep sometimes, man.
No, you do not, sir. What you think? You got a life, BGS? Oh no, this is blood in now.
Basically that's it. Basically, the more billionaires you create, where do you think the money comes from? It's a zero-sum game.
Thank you. Gee, bro, it's so hard, BGS, to say that to people because, to be honest with you, we were sold on this like, well, I get wealthy and you get wealthy, and it's just a bigger pie, and I get my slice and you get your slice. No. right? And I understand why people want to believe that, because it really sucks to believe that this is a zero-sum game and Jeff Bezos is one person with a zillion $50,000 a year jobs under his belt, right?
That's what they sold you on. How do you keep people? You have to have people believe in the system, otherwise, that's what they're going to do.
They're gonna buck.
They're going to tear the system down.
So, I got another question for you, BGS. It's so I was at a dinner family event, right? And it's crazy to me how I'm listening to, like, I'm a millennial, and I'm listening to people talking about, well, real estate is great, and we're looking at buying a home for $800,000, and it was so candid, and I was scratching my head. I'm like, damn, like. It's like you went from paying credit cards, whatever you owe, to even more massive debt, right? And it's like what I noticed is like the fear of missing out. But then again, it seems like this always happens, right? They create this wave where it's like, oh, I gotta be involved, and then they crash the system, right? And then here we are
consolidate wealth, like you said.
Because it's just so weird to me hearing people have these conversations like it's cliche. Well, yeah, we're looking at, trying to own property. And I'm like, when you start hearing numbers like anything over $500,000, I'm like, whew. For 30
well, it seems like the solution to all of it is to grab your retirement or your pension and leave the US.
That'd be optimal if people were they will only allow so many people actually leave, but the thing is, that'd be optimal for the expat.
Because I was thinking about taking my military retirement and moving to like Thailand or to Africa and just try to,
They only allow so many people to leave. What do you mean, BGS?
Okay, because it's going to be a money drain. What if say if you have say 50 million people just leave the United States with their retirement?
Whew.
How much money is that? How much money is that leaving the United States economic system and feeding somebody else's economic system? Huh?
How are they going to prevent us from leaving?
Tax codes.
Easy. Where do you get your money from?
Wait, you think they'll cut off our retirement?
No,
they're not above doing it.
They can put capital controls.
Yeah.
I wanted to speak to something James was saying earlier about the too big to fails, right? So what we know is that after the housing crisis of 07, 08, those too big to fails became even bigger. They consolidated even more wealth and bought the smaller fledgling banks. So he's 100% right about that, and it's crazy to me. And I don't know about you, BGS, but when you hear like certain brothers and sisters talk about capital and about wealth and about asset building, and you're like, nigga, did y'all, and I always bring this up, right? Did y'all forget we just came out of Jim Crow and colonialization like 2 days ago?
That's because
like,
that's because they live off of fairy tale dreaming. They live off this credit system like it's
shout out to Vanessa Williams.
I'm dreaming. I love that song.
Right?
But man, she fine as a motherfucker in her death. But,
wasn't she though? Yeah, I saw her without makeup on. I said, God damn, that's a pretty bitch. Anyway.
You can hear the difference in bitch in his voice. It's a pretty bitch, boy. You just be like, whoa, that's a pretty
This is why she was your first black Miss America?
Yeah, you couldn't deny that shit. You couldn't deny how fine she was. That's how bad she was, man. And the craziness of it all is this. Is that a lot of people play off this hope system. Notice how, that's why I say we buy this economic shit like almost like a game. Nobody's really saving.
Shit, can you save, Charles? Talk about nobody saving.
Anyway, we got about 15 more minutes, guys, and we're gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna put the link in the arts panel.
Yeah, I just want to let me make this one quick comment again. you know, what I find interesting is I always bring this up. I want to bring it up. I'm in the room with people that work in tech. I'm in the room with officers. I'm in the room with scholarly people, with Dr. Hassan and Gigi and stuff like that. And even they will be like, nigga, that do for self shit is bullshit. That doesn't mean you're not supposed to try. That's not what we're saying. That doesn't mean you're not to work hard, but it does mean if you have a fucked up system, that shit will not work.
You know why it's bullshit? Is because number one, nobody wants to teach you the game. How they got to get incentives to fucking start their business, whether you're Asian, white, and everybody else. They want you to do this. And see, the sad thing about it, our women, so-called, allegedly, try to get us on this shit. They notice they never encourage you on what the fuck you've actually accomplished. They always talk about what you haven't done. Well, let me put it to you this way. What other race of man ever fought for their rights and got them?
Yeah.
What other permanent underclass do other people want to be?
A minority underclass. It's almost impossible. Yeah.
Exactly. Think about what Black Americans are, and you know. So I was watching a video. Somebody posted on IG, and it was Japanese people dancing to this dance hall song. You know, Jamaican dance hall song. And I was like, that's my point. Blacks in the West, Black people in the West. That's Jamaicans, Haitians, Black Americans, definitely. Do y'all understand how our culture has been exported around the world?
Yeah.
To people that like French people are dancing to Haitian compa music. You got Japanese people dancing to the fucking dance hall Jamaican music, right? You got white people that are high sedity dancing and enjoying themselves to Black American music and wanting to be with Black Americans. If it wasn't for the social policies or what's going on socially, you know how many of these white girls would be marrying Black men, and I mean white women of prominence, right? Come on, man, like that's what we're talking about. Once this shit becomes less and less socially unacceptable, Katie bore the doors. Katie bore the doors.
It's already happening, you know.
Yeah.
It's already happening. But the thing is, you have 200 years of culture that you have to change. It doesn't change overnight. But admixture doesn't happen. It usually takes about 300 to 400 years to actually complete admix. They're trying to compress
shout out to the Arabs.
Time. Yeah, trying to compress it into like 150 years, which is like a third of the time. So that's hard.
Shout out to Brazil.
Well, Brazil, the thing is, there wasn't enough white people in Spain and Portugal. Portugal is a very small part, and they simply didn't have enough white people.
You know, so that's all we're saying. You know, I have these conversations, and it's good to. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's good to have people like BGS and Dr. Hassan and Gigi kind of back up what you say, right? Because you know, I don't have a college degree. You know, I've mentioned that before, and when you speak sometimes. I mean, like, you know that, BGS, but you know, sometimes that piece of paper does mean something, and so I am going to go back to school, you know, just so that when I say things, people at least give it a second thought, you know, because sometimes you'll see people look at you crazy, and then 5 years later they'll be calling you like, "How did Trump win? I told you." I fucking told you. I just sounded like the crazy conspiracy theorist guy when I was trying to tell you it. Now you calling me in 2016 talking about how did he win? Oh my God, Mr. Z. Well, I fucking told you. That's why you called me. You didn't call nobody else. You know. Obviously, that's a real true story, by the way. Multiple people blew my phone up.
It happened because we're the only ones that actually read and actually follow this stuff.
1%.
So I got a question. Trying to get back onto this topic about the females. Are you familiar with
back on it? Okay.
Are you familiar with Sigmund Freud's ego defense mechanisms?
Ego defense mechanisms. Maybe. Why?
So because I've been going through class, and I'm majoring in psychology. But
okay, that's why. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like so a couple of these ego defense mechanisms I noticed that our sisters use a lot in the ego defense mechanism. It's something that they use when you trigger something in them where they feel insecure.
Shame, insults. Okay, well, shame, guilt, and the need to be right. Right. What is their problem? What's the problem with Black women? They're shamed, right? And they're shamed of the circumstance and what happened to them. Right. They're guilty that they cannot change it. Right. Okay. That's the guilt. Okay. And how do they cover it up?
The
need to be right. I'm always right. This Lynn was a perfect example of that, right? Even though she didn't know it, how she tried to cover it up.
Her
Trying to be
degrees.
right.
I have a degree. I know what I'm talking about. You're wrong. I feel it's not fair. In other words, I have to be right. Okay, that's how she covers up her inadequacies.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of them is like projection, denial of reality,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a couple more off the top of my head. And as I
Mm-hmm.
was reading this stuff, I was like, wait a minute, this sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wish I would have caught Charles's actual panel, because when she
Mm-hmm.
was talking about women wanted to fight in wars. No, women wanted to join the military because of the health insurance and the guaranteed paycheck, but
Paycheck.
nobody was trying to get on the front line and trying to fight
Yeah.
under women. Because I can tell you now, I know I've been deployed 4 times, and there would be situations when they knew we was getting ready to deploy, and they was like, "Oh, it looks like it's time for me to go get pregnant."
Mm-hmm.
I knew a female that actually had 3 babies to
Mm-hmm.
get out of deployment.
Yeah, and the military is we had a chick that was on there that actually talked about that, and was saying that she didn't know. I said no. They said when you come in, if you're a female, you come into boot camp to talk to you about being on birth control and not getting pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no
Okay.
accidental pregnancies in the military. You do it on purpose because they got condoms, whatever kind of birth control you need to keep your ass from not getting pregnant.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it just baffles my mind that she's not even a service member, and she was like trying to speak against Charles of stuff she has no unearthly clue about.
Yeah, well, that's her defense mechanism because, like Dr. Johnson said, because in the black community, especially black women, they hold a degree in high regard. In other words, women kiss your ass if you're going for a PhD, they're kissing your ass, okay? But it doesn't mean that you know everything. And the thing is that, but she's been told that she knows everything. And there's another thing that she's been indoctrinated in feminist talking points. So in other words, what she knows, what she's been told, to her is true. So when we actually shift her worldview, she's going to fight it. She's going to buck against it because, like I said, that's the ego protecting itself. That's the psyche protecting itself against its own construction of its worldview. So when you challenge that, she's going to buck. And when you actually quote something that she doesn't know that flies in the face of her worldview, she's going to say that's not fair. And then she's going to argue a little bit, and she bounced because the need to be right wasn't, which is her main defense mechanism. She couldn't win, so she bounced. Most men would actually say, even black men would actually sit back and listen, and they would reverse it and said, "Okay, teach me." Black women feel they're superior over the men in the first place, and in the second place, they feel if they have a degree and you don't, that makes them doubly superior, and there's no way you should be even questioning them.
Sure. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
And we have exactly 5 minutes, so make it quick.
I'll make it quick. So, in regards to how do you think the future is going to be with the introduction of transgender taking a huge chunk?
If artificial womb comes in 10 years, it doesn't matter where you put your penis. The state doesn't care about you because they don't need you to make babies anymore.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in regards to how black women view themselves as the high intellect. Now, if you have transgenders challenging them, do you think
no? The transgenders, there's not enough of them to even make a dent. Okay. They're outsized because the state is actually pushing their agenda. There's not that many transgenders to even make that big.
Not even 1% of the population.
Even 1% of the population.
And then let's talk about this intellectual part. That's full of shit. That's bullshit, and that's full of shit again. Do we need to present Exhibit A again?
Exhibit A, BGS's existence.
In other words, if you're like being an intellectual, being smart, basically is knowing your limitations, right? A man should always know his limitations, right? So when Charles is talking about what he does walking the beat, it's foolish for me to even challenge him. It's best for me to learn from him.
I know one thing, touching on that transgender thing. They are a very small population, but they are definitely making headways because
they're making headways with help. The thing is, stop looking at the ground level. Look at the level. Who's pushing it and why? Why are they pushing transgender down your throat? There's not enough of them to make a dent. Why are they making this outside push to put transgender in your face?
I wanted to bring this up too with Charles being here.
It could be artificial wombs. The thing is, we can make guesses, but the thing is, it's not the what, okay? Okay, especially when it comes to policy, you always got to remember this. It's not the what; it's always the why. Why are they doing it? The why always leads to the what, especially in policy. Okay.
Why always leads to the what, and it always leads to the who.
Yeah. Why are they decriminalizing prostitution? Right. They're decriminalizing prostitution. What is it going to do on the street? The thing is, why are they doing it in the first place?
Because they know these jobs ain't coming back.
Jobs ain't coming back. Why are they decriminalizing a lot of the soft drugs? You better have those motherfuckers high if they ain't got no job and no future.
They ain't got just what did Hitler do?
Yeah, beer. It made beer cheaper than food.
Exactly. You gotta intoxicate them one way or another.
Hell, if the cops knew would keep these, after these, instead of breaking up fights and shooting, the cops would be handing out soft drugs. Hey man, here's some weed, man. Go sit down and smoke this.
Go smoke it out.
Yeah. I mean, they already give us Narcan. You might as well.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah.
I'll be like, go ahead.
What's your second question before we getting ready to get out of here?
So, this is more econ question. I was listening to something in regards to California, right? The mass exodus, all this stuff. Now
it's not a mass exodus,
but it is an exodus.
It's an exodus. Yeah, but the exodus in California is because one, it's a very high economic state, right? High rent state,
can't afford anything,
high cost of living state, right? So if you can have the same job in a different city, a different locale with the same income, where would you stay in California? We actually move to a lower rent, a lower cost state.
Gotcha.
That's what's happening. It's not rocket science. They're not moving from California because all of a sudden there's no jobs or no money. The thing is, you can't afford to fucking live there.
And I wanted to say real quick to Charles and to BGS, when I first entered the space, I remember telling you guys this: when you have conversations with women, whether they're educated or not, and you present facts to them that goes against their worldview, what did I say they say, Charles?
It's not fair. It's not fair.
No, bigger than it's not fair.
What?
Fuck your facts.
Fuck your facts. Because fuck your facts.
Did she say that?
Well, you know how many times I've been told that? Shit.
Oh yeah. Oh.
You know what happened with her? It's like I just told Chris when me and Peanut walked into the house. Women, but black women in particular, tell you what type of man they want. They want a highly intelligent guy. When they find one, they rebuke it because they really don't think that type of nigga. Yep, I rebuke your logic. They rebuke it because they don't really think this nigga exists. It's like waiting for Superman. And what happened was, I went to school all this time. I got my master's. I'm in the PhD program. And this guy just outsmarted me.
She should be back and actually be sitting under Dr. Gigi's panel.
Yeah, she should. Learn up.
But what can a man teach her if she already sees men as adversarial, black men specifically as adversarial?
She sees it as her, sir. She tries to come with this pro-black, I'm for the brothers thing when she talks about the wellness of black men. I said, first of all, you don't know the well. I said, look at this. If you really want to talk about the wellness of black men, look how many black men died with stressful ass wives.
Yeah. All right. Wrap it up, Charles. Get the closing thought.
And I'm like, look, if you want to talk about the wellness of black men, why not give black men a fair wage and encourage black men? Well, there's a lot of brothers who don't get it. And I said, first of all, you know what, the whole education system hate black. Even she had to agree to that with the education system. I said, so what is thy problem? But go ahead, BGS. Since we got
she wants to hold. Black women really want to hold control over black men. They're afraid that if black men get a leg up, they're gonna leave, which is probably right because they ain't shit.
I just wanted to close out by saying, let me close out real quick by saying, BGS, thank you so much for having me up and allowing me to talk to Dr. Hassan. That was, that I definitely loved being in the space with that brother. I'm just gonna continue to be in this space. I said in the comments, Charles, I'm actually gonna start the channel. I'm gonna pull a Kevin Samuels and just build it while I fly it because I'm
Charles
just so
did.
because I don't have no background. I just have a couple of pre-recordings, and I think I'm just started like that.
I still want to put a foot up his ass for his first video called "Spilt Liquor." I said, "What the fuck?"
But you loved it, didn't you?
I said, no, this nigga didn't. No, he did not. He ain't shit. That's what I said. This dude ain't shit. Anyway, closing thoughts, folks. Spilt Liquor.
And that's all for me.
Oh yeah, thank you all. Thank you. Not only this is the anniversary or the celebration of Kevin making 1 million. This is also the celebration of my first year of live streaming and having a channel. Yay! So, do me a favor. I want everybody listening to go to my first video and listen to Spilt Liquor. And you better. I make more money. I made more money with Spilled Liquor than you made. Oh man. Go listen to that Spilled Liquor video. That's the first video.
I said I can't believe that was his first video. Not "Hi, I'm Charles. This is what my channel's about." Blah blah blah. Spilt Liquor. It's a motherfucker.
So I'm formal too. That's what I did.
Is that such an Aries thing to do?
It is an Aries thing to do. Yes, it is. Anybody else? Closing thoughts you guys want to make them?
I was just gonna say, yeah, I'm grateful to BGS and the panel. You know what I'm saying? Over these last streams and stuff, the astrology talks, and
so you didn't mind a foot up your ass every now and then, huh?
Yeah, because I'm honestly trying to figure out, like, I came here for a reason, so I'm not gonna be fucking. Nah, I'm right. Fuck that. I'm not living like that.
He loves it. He loves it. Sometimes when he calls me, he gets another funny ass.
That's fucked up, LeVar.
Spill weed.
Fucked up. Look, that's fucked up.
First video gonna be Speed Willie.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
I got more money. I spend more money on spilled weed. Damn, give it here. Than you made.
Drop buds. Drop buds.
Yeah, buds. All right. Anybody else? Closing thoughts?
Yeah. I would just like to say thank you, man. I gotta give a shout out to Brother Charles, man, because I fell onto your channel. I was going through a real dark space, and because of that, brother, I'm here now. So I appreciate everything. And
okay. All right.
Believe it or not, that's actually not even a donations. Yeah, y'all niggas should donate, but still. But stuff like that. When I be like, you know what, I'm gonna stop live streaming because I'm getting all this fucking attitude and shit from people. But shit like that motivates me. Like, I'm glad when people go through a dark space. I like to make it like one of those old school medieval taverns where the knights and the samurai and the Zulu warriors could come meet, put their weapons down at a nice space and get a nice brew and something nice to smoke and relax and be men. Woo! Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, BGS, as well. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
I really appreciate being here. It's good to have some like-minded brothers when you're in an area where there's not a lot of people like you that can actually be on the same wavelength as you. Since I took a deep dive into the RP content, I've learned my way, and it made me a mature adult finally. So I greatly appreciate guys like y'all on the panel, BGS, and the other people in the manosphere. So I'm just glad to be here, and I'm glad I found this space when I did.
All right. Anybody else?
I think we cut it to a wrap. Make sure we go to Brother Arch channel.
Yeah, I put the link in the channel in the description, in the chat. So if you want to go over there, that's where people are going. AL's already over there. Judge
is it in the back chat or it was on the?
No, it's on the front chat. So
okay.
People go over there. Art of Ibmore's over there already. So yeah.
Okay, I might have to hop on the YouTube to see it.
I might have to go over there and I'm gonna change the time for my shit. Change the time and date for my shit.
Tell Lynn it wasn't nothing personal.
I guess,
but it was good for me though.
Yeah,
the body blows is painful.
It's funny with Lynn. I'm just wondering if we still gonna be talking tomorrow. So hey, she gets a little attitude. Guess what? I don't chase him.
If she gets horny, she'll be back.
Oh yeah, I don't chase him. I just replace him, baby.
All right, folks. See y'all next time. Peace.